Good morning and welcome to the AM show on the Joy News channel. My name is Sweetie Abochi and I do this with Benjamin Akakpo. There's a lot of things happening in the country today, starting with the EC's limited voter registration. But we get talking on all that and a myriad of other issues, starting with the news that matters to you. I'll be serving you that in a bit. And after that, Wisdom Dogbe, who is a financial analyst, will be joining us for the newspaper review segment. And after that, we'll bring you AM Sports, where Muftar Nabila Abdullah will bring you the latest updates. I hope that he tells you what happened to Manchester United yesterday. But after that, we get into our big story. So, like I said earlier, the EC begins a 21-day limited registration exercise today in 268 district offices and 700 difficult-to-access electoral areas, including 25 public universities. The exercise kicks off amid controversy over the auction of obsolete BVDs and BVRs, with IMANI Africa dragging the EC to CHRAJ for impropriety. We'll delve into this issue and various other issues and also bring you what's happening on the ground as the exercise begins. Also, brace yourselves for more stormy weather and rains. The Meteorological Services cautions public as giant trees get toppled, falling on multiple vehicles in yesterday's morning rain. I experienced some myself. We'll bring you all that, and we'll speak to the Meteorological Services for some tidbits. You want to stay with us from now to 10 a.m., joining us with your comments, your thoughts, either via phone or via social media, and let's get the conversations going. My name is Sweetie Abochi. Welcome to the AM show, and now let's get into the news. This is the AM News. Welcome to the program, everyone. Now let's get into the details. The Electoral Commission is defending its procurement processes after receiving backlash from IMANI Africa. The Commission insists its procurement processes were done through competitive bidding through the Public Procurement Authority and the Finance Ministry. Addressing the press earlier, the Electoral Commission Chair, Jean Mensah, added that the budgets for the procurement of EVDs were scrutinized by Parliament, maintaining that their procurement process were not done in secrecy. The EC also claims not to have been aware by IMANI Africa's petition to CHRAJ against the Commission.
And we know that procurement usually would go under the Public Procurement Authority. It doesn't go, we do not seek parliamentary approval to procure. It is true that we defend our budgets with a special budget committee of Parliament. And before our budgets are approved, we have these extensive discussions with the honorable members of the special budgets committee before approval. But when it comes to procurement, we get approvals mainly from the Public Procurement Authority and the Central Tender Review Committee of the Ministry of Finance. So I can assure you that the Commission has abided strictly by the law in all procurements that it has done from 2018 to date. You go through the appropriate agencies, be it the PPA, or you can go through the Central Tender Review Committee, as the case may be. And that has been done, and there's documentation to that effect.
The cost of registering a new voter has reduced from $13 per head to $7. Briefing the media on arrangement ahead of the limited voter registration exercise beginning today, Jean Mensah said they expect to register 623,000 new voters from May 7th to May 27th.
With the figure 623,000, per the census report of 2020, 450,000 people turn 18 years every year. And so are you aware that in 2020 we held voter registration? So if you start counting from 2021 to 2024, you arrive at a figure of 1.8 million persons turning 18 years every year. And in the last registration exercise, we managed to register some 910,000 of the 1.8, and it leaves us with a figure of 890,000 persons who are yet to register. We all know that we cannot expect all 890,000 persons, at our registration centers. We cannot have all of them come. And so what we've done is to use 70% of that 890,000. And that gives us the figure of 623,000 that we've put there.
The National Democratic Congress in the Savlelugu constituency of the Northern Region have warned they will not sit aloof and allow the New Patriotic Party bus people for the limited registration exercise. The NDC said they have uncovered a plot by the NPP to bus people from other parts of the region to register in the limited registration exercise. Addressing a press conference in Savlelugu, the communication officer of the part of Nyaba Abbas Abdul Rahman said they will resist any attempt to have foreigners decide who to represent them in Parliament.
The Electoral Commission is set to begin its limited registration exercise, voter transfer and voter ID cards replacement between the 7th of May and 15th of June. But ahead of the exercise, the National Democratic Congress in the Savlelugu constituency is raising red flags. It is accusing the NPP of a deliberate attempt to disrupt the exercise by busing people to the area to register. The communications officer in Yaba Abbas Abdul Rahman disclosed this at a press conference.
Of sad and unhealthy political discourse, hearing and picking up signals purported to be plans being advanced by some unscrupulous members of the New Patriotic Party NPP in this particular constituency available to us. We are as well picking signals that they are also going to have another plan, or those plans have already been advanced, towards once again rebusing people, especially when it comes to moment of voter transfers.
He also accused the NPP of plotting to register minors.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is very sad and unfortunate development we are picking from the NPP fraternity once again, that there is equally one purported plan again. And this time round, there is an attempt on the part of the NPP fraternity and their camp to once again see how best they can turn the impossibility to become possibility. And this is manifested and reflects on the fact that they are madly interested in the pursuit of registering what we call minors in this particular impending nationwide limited registration exercise. We are cautioning them that members of the NDC in the Savlelugu constituency, we are indeed peace-loving, committed members of the Ghanaian society and Ghanaian public. We will not and we shall not sit aloof and watch on for them to perpetrate such an illegality, because it will end up becoming a frown on our democratic credentials.
Mr. Abbas said there is a deliberate plan to disrupt the exercise in the Savlelugu constituency.
The MPP in our dear constituency is said to have once again advanced plans towards an absolute disruption of the impending limited nationwide registration process. How can you say you love Ghana? How can you say you are a Ghanaian patriot? Then you have an advanced plan in the hidden towards scaring away people from exercising their constitutional legitimate right. Indeed, we have been duly and formally informed that they are inviting what we call well-built men, popularly known in the Ghanaian parlance as macho men, so that they will station them at the polling centers or at the registration center for purposes of scaring away membership of the NDC.
And now to the EC missing laptops. A Dansoman Circuit Court has granted a conditional bail of 20,000 Ghana cedis with 2 sureties to all 4 persons accused of stealing laptops belonging to the Electoral Commission. The 4, Philip Tete, a 26-year-old laborer, Benjamin Fianyi, a security man, and Clifford Yeboah, were in the dock on Monday with Joseph Blackstone Adumaje, a 37-year-old database administrator at the Electoral Commission, who is already on bail. Having failed to furnish the defense with charge sheets, caution statements and facts, the judge granted bail with very little resistance from the prosecutor. There's more in the following report.
The three other suspects who were in police custody prior to Monday's trial showed up in court handcuffed together. They were joined in the dock by Joseph Blankson Adumaji, 37-year-old database administrator at the Electoral Commission, who was already on bail. The prosecutor, who failed to furnish the accused persons and their lawyers with disclosures as directed at the last trial date, attempted to apply for another adjournment to enable them finalize their investigations. Meanwhile, a lawyer for the accused, in addressing the court, said the prosecution is trying to blow a simple case out of proportion. He argued for fairness and justice to prevail and the trial be conducted within a reasonable time frame.
It's a presumption that the accused persons are presumed to be innocent. So once a date has been given for them to serve us with disclosures, and they have failed to do so, and considering the fact that the other accused persons on bail, it is right and proper that the others be also admitted to bail.
Okay, so two sureties, 20,000 Ghana cedis, report at the station once every 2 weeks.
Yes.
Are you confident your clients are able to meet this bail bond?
They will try. They should be in a position to. Yes.
Where do you see this case going?
We'll come to that. We'll come to that. We'll do our best. Once they're on bail, we'll sit with them. Then we'll discuss the possible or the good defense for them.
The case has been adjourned to June 5, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. at the Dansoman Circuit Court.
In other stories, the 2-hour downpour on Monday morning once again exposed how the country's capital has been engulfed with filth. Rejoice Semefak Bissue takes us to Kwame Nkrumah Circle and Asylum Down, a suburb of Accra, for our filth exhibition series. Enjoy.
The heavens opened up, bringing forth nature's blessings upon the metropolis, cleansing the air and most importantly reducing the heat. But amidst the raindrops was an unsettling scene. Mud, polythene bags, plastics and food leftovers, exposing how filthy the country's capital is.
Normally, this is what we go through when it rains. You really find it difficult to even go to work.
Foster, who lives in Asylum Down, narrates the real challenge he was confronted with, having had to move around the neighborhood.
This morning, whilst I was going to work, I have to use the other side of the road because this place was flooded. I mean, even the cars, they were not able to use this lane that you see them using now. They were all using the overhead. There's a gutter just behind this building, and that's where the flood comes from, and that's where all this rubbish are coming from. So normally it is the rubbish that's gathered here that makes the water not to flow. So what we are asking of is the environmental protection people to come and make sure all the gutters are clean and are free so that the water can pass through it whenever it rains.
Gazi wasn't shocked. He said this mess was the least expected.
Beside from where you stand with me here, Fold, up to Accra stand there, over here the coast too, the same thing. It download whenever the water value on the compound in the area, and the area is somewhere the coast water cannot pass. It always divert from both our yard here and dilute from the street both to the center zone here. It always flow somewhere the coast at Taneshi Street here. When it flow and come to this center, it will flow enter here. Because this is the consumption road to Aveno. All the coast here is the same as you met here.
But in the moment of reckoning lies an opportunity for transformation, a chance to rebuild not just the physical infrastructure, but the collective spirit of a city striving to claim the title of cleanliness and sustainability in Africa. Semefak Bissue's report read to you.
3 3 teacher unions in the 3 regions of the north have declared they will embark on a demonstration on the 8th of May in protest of government's delay in addressing their collective agreement. The group said it's part of their agenda to push government to address their concerns. The teacher unions have given the government a 1-week ultimatum to address their demands. Here's a report.
The Northern Region branch of the teacher unions are joining their counterparts across the country in protesting government's delay in implementing their collective agreement. Addressing a press conference in Tamale, the coordinating regional NAT secretary, Northern Region Cosmos Emu Unko, said government has up to 13th of May 2024 to address their concerns.
Friends, the allowances we have been battling over the past 15 years and counting were 17, and due to several considerations, we reduced them to 4. And these 4 are the deprived area allowance, extra assessment allowance, the book data online teaching support allowance, and upward adjustment of the CPD allowance. CPD means continuous professional development. Despite this gesture of good faith from the unions, the government is still adamant and has demonstrated bad faith. Pursuant to the above, we call on the employer once again to honor its promises and commitment to our teachers by addressing our concerns over the allowances enumerated above. We need to also stress that we have had enough of the nonchalance, complacency, and aloofness of the employer, and we does not countenance this situation any longer. Consequently, we are giving the employer up to May 13th, 2024 to address our concerns as enumerated above.
He said a demonstration is set on the 8th of May to further push government to rise to its feet to address their concerns.
And as of today, have not heard anything. So we expect that by Wednesday, we'll do it. But by Wednesday, if you hear, fine, that is a different story. Because the signal is that from last week Friday, as of today, we have not heard anything, meaning that we can continue with our demonstration. So if by Wednesday, we don't hear anything, we continue. The year that the government has failed to honor its promises. So we don't know whether it's election year or no, we don't know that. But we started this negotiation some months back. The collective bargaining expired since 2020. Was 2020 election year? I'm sure we knew it was election year. So we left it. From 2020 to 2025 years, 4 years. So we are lending on your, it's overdue. So it's not by election year, we don't know what is election. All that we are looking for is the demands that our people should. 17 items, we have come down to 4. Are we not being magnanimous? 17, we have come 4. And 4, you are being dilly-dally. What do you want us to do again?
Still in the Northern Belt, the National Democratic Congress parliamentary candidate for Lambuisi, Professor Titus, has stated the rehabilitation of the Pina Dam in the Lambuisi constituency will be a game changer for the people. Speaking at a groundbreaking ceremony for the rehabilitation of the dam, he noted that the economic fortunes of the people in the area depended on the dam, and ever since its banks almost overflowed 10 years ago, the people have had to go through arduous times for better lives. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports that the rehabilitation of the dam is funded by former President John Dramani Mahama, and the duration of the contract of the job is 2 months.
The Bupale Dam, otherwise known as the Pina Dam, located in the Lambuisi district, was constructed over 3 decades ago. Its economic importance to the people over the years is immeasurable. It used to hold water all year round, enabling residents to use it for domestic purposes, dry season gardening, and also for the drinking of their animals. The situation is however different after the banks of the dam were broken following a heavy downpour almost 10 years ago. It is very dry and one cannot spot a scintilla drop of water on it, thereby affecting the livelihoods and economic fortunes of the people. Paramount Chief of Lambuse, Koru Isaac Zenge Kazie Tangier II, in a meeting with former President John Dramani Mahama during a recent campaign tour of the Lambuse constituency, lamented about the poor state of the Pina Dam, appealing to him to help rehabilitate it should he be given the nod in the 2024 polls. 2024 parliamentary candidate of the NDC in the Lambuse constituency, Professor Timecodes Bissue, threw the light on the issue.
Our colleagues on the other side of the political divide came to this district and said they wanted to do one village, one dam. And the chief said, rehabilitate this dam for us. They went away. Came back again and said, Chief, give us a new place. We want to do one village, one dam. Chief said, I don't have any new place. Rehabilitate Pina Dam for us. They ran away. And when I was consulting around to find out one significant thing that we can do that can transform the lives of the entire constituency, this dam came up. I was looking for the best opportunity, and then we heard His Excellency was coming to visit. I had closed-door conversation with my father, the chief, and a lot of senior people within the district, and we wanted to commit His Excellency. So we planned that when he visited, we will let him pass here, see the dam in its current state, say something before going to the parade grounds. But time did not permit that. But when Chief put the request before him, and I added a word, he said one thing, and I want to paraphrase it. He said, Prof, will this dam let you win the election? And I said, Your Excellency, I believe it will be a game changer. And he said, if this dam will do it for you, if this dam will do it for you, and if this dam will truly help the people, then I'm not going to make a promise that they should vote for us. We will do it before the election. So while others will come and make a promise and don't deliver, His Excellency made a commitment on that day and has given all of us the marching orders to make sure that this dam is delivered.
Dr. Asa Apona Abunkundugu is the engineer for the project.
We also talked to the community people, and we got to know that the road between Pina and Lambuse is always flooded when the dam is full. So after doing our analysis, hydrological and engineering-wise, we realized that we could do a second spillway, because it's when the water is full and is going out, that is when the water will also be getting to the road.
Former Minister of Food and Agriculture, Alhaji Lemuna Muniru, now working as one of the aides to the former president, represented him at a groundbreaking ceremony.
So when His Excellency said it, he said, look, I don't want it to look like I'm bargaining, because these are my own brothers. I'm bargaining for their votes. I have to make sure that I do this. So long as God has given me the capacity to do it, I'll do it for them. If they decide to vote for me, we thank God.
Professor Timecodes Bissue poured laudations and encomiums on the former president for funding the rehabilitation of the dam, assuring him of the victory of the NDC in the presidential and parliamentary elections.
Community members, let me remind all of us that before His Excellency made a commitment, I also told him something, and that was that in 2020, even though we lost the seat painfully, we gave His Excellency over 70% of the vote.
On that note, we bring the AM News to a close. Up next is the news review, and our guest is Dr. Wisdom Kofi Dogbe, joining us for that segment. Stay with us.
Welcome back on the show, and it's Mary Poppins on one end, and I am Captain Fontrap.
Captain Fontrap.
Fontrap.
Okay.
You remember the sound of music? Mm-hmm. Do, a deer, a female deer, ray, a drop of golden sun.
You.
Me, a name I call myself, far a longer way to run. The sound of music. So Captain Fontrap, he was, I think he was in, was it Poland or Switzerland, and then the German.
You have many sides.
And everything. Pardon me.
You have many sides.
I have many sides.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You want to see me rap?
No.
You want me to give you?
No.
Give me a beat. Give me a beat. Oh, that's a talent. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do right now. Because if I start it, you know, I just might beatbox.
Yeah.
You know what beatboxing is?
Yeah. Using your mouth too. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Anyway, welcome aboard the news review.
Yeah.
And let me just let you know that this segment, not the fooling, this segment is always sponsored by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. As always, they're offering you prostate screening for free if you're a man, fertility screening for free if you're a woman. All you have to do, reach out to them at any of their branches here in Accra, Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi Kronoma Abuehia behind the Angel Educational Complex, Takrady Anaji State, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa, and Esiaman Zama. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Shall we do this together? Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic.
The end to chronic disease.
Okay, so time now for us to bring in our guest for the morning. Wisdom Dogbe is our guest. He's a financial analyst. Wisdom, good morning.
Good morning, Ben. I think I got a memo to be in white. Both of you are in white, so I got that memo.
Well, welcome aboard. Good you got the memo.
Yeah.
I know you've been through a rough patch in recent, just about a week, so it's really good to see you, at least hale and hearty and joining the conversation.
Good to be back. Thank you.
All right, so quickly, we'll give you your usual spot, share your thoughts on any pertinent matter, and right after that, Sweetie Abochi will take us into the newspapers.
Perfect. Ben, I think that what we are learning, I want to talk about the SML deal a little bit. What we are learning from the KPMG audit of SML, right, it quite confirms what Ghanaians already knew for some time now through the excellent reporting by the Fourth Estate, that this contract was not necessarily entered into in good faith and that it is not necessarily value for money. Maybe it makes sense to terminate the entire contract at this stage. The report of what we're hearing confirms our concerns, about how sometimes no proper due diligence is conducted in awarding such contracts. I'm totally baffled as to how the finance ministry and GRA, this is a sector with folks who have some significant and respectable years of experience. And yet, I don't know how they got it wrong as far as awarding this contract. I think it's a good thing that KPMG recommended that the upstream petroleum audit and the mining sector audit services by SML be canceled. But this is close to about $100 million savings for the nation. That is a huge amount that we can invest into solving the various challenges that the average Ghanaian faces. We have the students of this country, the future leaders. Some of these students are not getting welfare. If I recall from the Joy News documentary on the school feeding program. Some of these students don't have classrooms to study in. And I can almost assure you that you don't even need $100 million to build a decent classroom for some of our basic schools. Now, I think that the best way to start to cure what is seemingly becoming a wrong that the finance ministry and the GRA did by awarding this auspicious contract to SML, I think the best thing to do, in my opinion, will be to release the full report to Ghanaians without further delay. As I mentioned the other time on your show, this is a matter of national significance. The people deserve to know how the resources of the nation are being managed. A good section of Ghanaians believes that this was a shady deal, And if the government is serious and wants to make a convincing statement about fighting corruption,
right,
they have to first be transparent.
Okay.
There is no better way, right, to show transparency in this matter, than releasing the full report to the general public, even if the president is not obligated to do so. I think it will play well into the narrative of the presidency, as a government committed to fighting corruption. Should a full KPMG report be made available to the public immediately,
right.
I think it will promote transparency. Then I also think that the government has a unique opportunity, to show accountability by investigating any loss to the state. I like that the opposition party mentioned last week that if NDC wins power, this contract will be immediately terminated in its entirety. But I tell you this, Ghanaians don't want to wait until the NDC comes to power before someone is held accountable for this. The people of Ghana demand this accountability from their public officials, regardless of who is in power. That's why I am calling on our MPs who are also investigating this,
right.
Not to take their feet off the gas, in getting to the bottom of this SML deal. In fact, I had the opportunity to chat with the ranking member of the Finance Committee in Parliament, Honorable Isaac Adongo, and I commended him on Parliament's effort to get to the bottom of this SML deal. But it should be a bipartisan effort. Properly investigating these things should not be a political matter. The nation needs better closure on this, Ben.
All right. Better closure needed. Let's quickly get into the papers now, find out what they have to say.
Let's start with the Daily Graphic newspaper. On the front page, it says limited voter registration exercise starts today. Exercise targets 623,000 persons. And the story, we'll get into the story later. There's also another story here that government advances processes for divesting public lands. Professor Dodu launches 2 books on healthy living. Let's quickly get into the story about the limited voter registration because that's happening today. The limited voter registration exercise started across the country with a target to register 623,000 eligible persons onto the electoral register. The 21-day exercise, which is meant for persons who've just turned 18 and others who've not previously registered to vote, is expected to be carried out in 1,053 registration centers made up of 268 district offices of the Electoral Commission and 785 additional centers in hard-to-reach areas agreed on with political parties. This is expected to end on Monday, May 27th this year. Benjamin, when you look at, the slide that 2020 elections brought the president to power and the expected number of people who are supposed to register and the number of young people that just turned 18, so I watched the first episode. It gives me hope that perhaps they are not going to vote like what we've been doing. They're not corruptible. They'll not vote for whoever gives them money, but they will vote with intention, looking at how the country is going, what they're looking for, and then make the change that we are looking forward to. But that's that about the voter registration starting today.
On that question, I also watched Just Turned 18. In fact, I was in the studio. Shola, Emmanuel Juvenu, and others, making it happen. But I just watched the video, right, on Facebook where a woman, and I will not mention the name of the party, the woman was interviewed recently, not on this platform, and she was saying that, listen, even if they bring a stone, a ball, and it is for that party I like, I will vote for that stone. People like her are part of our problem. No offense, no insult, but if you would vote for a stone over someone who would probably change your life for the better, then it points to where some of us are in terms of, and there are many people like that.
Future leaders will change the narrative.
Some people will tell you, oh, yeah, the party way they come a fuma. Yeah, we meto party way, party X, party Y, party Z. It means you're not thinking. You're not thinking for yourself. Country. You are a robot. You are an automaton. You are an android. You are just following through with orders. No thinking processes. I don't know.
What are your thoughts on this limited voter registration exercise starting today?
So thank you so much for this one. I'll take a different approach to this. I think that the voter registration is important exercise, right, to ensure voter inclusion and also accuracy of the voter roll across the country. It is the job of the EC to ensure that all eligible Ghanaians have the opportunity to register and be included in the voter roll, including those who have turned 18 and those who, for some reason, couldn't register the last time. And I'm hoping that this exercise will be done fairly and also in a very transparent manner. I was watching your news earlier on, Sudi, and you mentioned that there are reports of some folks illegally busing, non-Ghanaians to register in the North, right? I think that is quite unfortunate, but I think that over time, there are changes in the population, such as new voters reaching the voting age, or citizens who have moved from different parts of the country, right? And that is why we need these voter registration exercises, to help capture these changes and also ensure that there is an accurate and up-to-date voter list. And when it comes to addressing voter alienation, I think that some Ghanaians have previously been unable to register due to various reasons, including what happened to the people of Likpe, I think Lulubi, and other towns in the area. I think they call them the Sol area. So this voter registration exercises provide that opportunity, to reach out to these marginalized groups and ensure that their inclusion in the electoral process is ensured, right? Also, for the sake of enhancing electoral integrity, I think that we should use this new registration exercise or subsequent ones before the election to address concerns about the integrity of the voter roll, such as duplicate registrations. I think that by validating the identities and also the eligibility of voters through a robust registration process, I think the Electoral Commission can enhance the credibility, and the integrity of the electoral system. And they also need to use this to build trust and confidence among the Ghanaian voters.
Right. Thank you for that. On page 13 of the Daily Graphic newspaper, there's a story about government advancing processes for divesting public lands. And it reads, a review committee on the return of vested lands has recommended that majority of the lands should be given back to the pre-acquisition owners. The committee also identified some lands that had special state interest and called for special dispensation from landowners in the management of such properties. So the report of the committee, which was presented to the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Abu Jinapor, yesterday, indicated that some chiefs had agreed that the state would pay a token for the continuous use of those lands. Additionally, the report asked for the setting up of a committee that is comprised of the Lands Commission, the landowners, and land users to jointly manage a few of the lands whose nature of acquisition and use were quite complex. Benjamin Akakpo, before I go to Dr. Wisdom Dogbe.
These land matters,
are they divesting, or are they just claiming ownership and selling the lands to private investors?
And that's part of the point. Our land systems in Ghana and how we've gone about it. The case of the military officer who got shot recently was on the back of a land issue where someone pumped how many bullets into him? 7, 8 bullets into him. So it's really problematic. The talk shop about land is a lot. Hopefully this helps in part of managing state lands. But I also want to make mention of this. There are lots of, you could say, pieces or parcels of land that look at our parks and gardens, for example, and what Nkrumah meant to do with them. And parks and gardens meant to manage the authority meant to manage those spaces across our cities. All of them, practically all of them, even in the Greater Accra region, are gone. Some have been taken over, others, whatever, sold out and all that. Yeah. So when we start talking about these issues, sometimes you start thinking, okay, is it just the talk we like? But of course, we also wish him well on this drive, hoping that it culminates in something positive for land administration and all that.
Dr. Dogbe, some quick thoughts on this?
Yeah, to Ben's point, I really hope that they do this in a very transparent way, right? I missed this one on the news, so I don't have a lot to say on this. But what I can say is that Ghanaians are watching. We don't want a repeat of what happened a couple of years ago when we heard that some government officials acquired some of this land and willed this land to their families forever.
Okay. So I'll do some quick headlines, and if there's something that interests you, we should get into, we do that, and then we move on to the last paper I have, and then Ben takes over. Take advantage of AI to improve output. Mauko Afajinu urges PR practitioners, Ghana, EU to deepen trade ties. India calls for currency interchangeability with Ghana. Reverend Tete calls for peaceful election in December. In the political landscape, be professional in election conduct. That's a clergyman urging the EC and other stakeholders to do that. And Akachi North MP supports some 47 tertiary students with some, educational items. So those are some quick headlines in the Daily Graphic newspaper. Pick one for yourself, and then we'll get into that. I have the Economic Times. I'll do quick headlines, and then if we want to get into any of the stories, we do that. On the front page, cedi depreciation worsens. LPG price made up of 22% taxes as NPA vows to ease traders' concern. Taxation is driving away investors, FABAC General Secretary has said. Bank of Ghana Governor urges First Bank Ghana to access green financing in support of lending activities. On cedi stability, confidence low as depreciation surges over 13%. Good corporate governance aside, recapitalization needed to revamp NIB. That's a consultant saying that. In Ghana's electricity, sustainability, and political interference. That's an editorial. Any of these stories piques your interest, or should we move on to Benjamin's papers? Dr. Ndogbe.
Yeah, Suri, for some time now, we've been hearing about the city losing value.
Yeah.
So, yes, my 2 cents of what I think would be a good buffer, to the city in a particular case in Ghana. I think that the main threat to having a strong city is our current macroeconomic stability issues, right? We need to steady the ship when it comes to economic stability, which is crucial to mitigate the devaluation of the city. And I'm talking about implementing sound monetary and also fiscal policies that aim to control inflation, maintain a stable exchange rate, and also promote sustainable economic growth. I hope the buffer that the governor of Bank of Ghana was talking about a couple of weeks ago, that was on the news. I hope that includes appropriate, monetary tools to better manage inflation, such as adjusting rates and also managing money supply.
Right.
Unfortunately, because of our debt crisis and our company economic mess that we are in, we are not yet in a strong position, in my opinion, to significantly accumulate adequate level of foreign exchange reserves, which can act as a buffer against the devaluation of the city. I believe that a good foreign exchange reserve can provide that the nation with the ability, to intervene in foreign exchange markets, stabilize the currency, and continue working towards meeting external obligations.
Right.
And sweetie, the big thing here is we have to do more to control inflation, right? Mm-hmm. It is declining, I get that, but more work has to be done because higher inflation erodes the value of the city, and it can lead to that devaluation that we're seeing. And I think that if we implement effective monetary policies, such as inflation targeting, that can help control inflation pressures. And this can also involve setting clear inflation targets and also using monetary tools, such as interest rate adjustments and also reserve requirements to manage inflation expectations and maintain stability. Now, another big one that we need to pay attention to is fiscal discipline, right? I think that maintaining fiscal discipline is key to building that strong buffer, to support the city. Even in an election year like this, we know government spending is usually off the roof, right? Mm-hmm. Though they say they won't spend too much, we know what happens. We need to work towards balancing the budget and also reducing fiscal deficits. I think that a strong fiscal position helps to instill confidence in the city, which can be a buffer against further devaluation of the city. Okay. We need to promote growth by export, right? And work towards financial sector stability and also enhance investor confidence. All of this can help mitigate, the risk of devaluation of the city by building a stronger buffer.
All right, thank you for that. I always find it's quite unrealistic when I see reports of decreasing inflation because it never really reflects the pockets of the ordinary Ghanaian.
Well,
Benjamin,
the metrics may point to it, but, like the Vice President himself said some time back, when you talk about these metrics and people don't feel them in their pockets, then it becomes problematic. Yeah. Economics is not economics if it's just left to the textbooks. It's the practicality of economics that makes it, worth anything. Else, it is mere study for study's sake, which is nonsense, so to speak. But the New Finder newspaper, it regurgitates part of what you said. Minister receives report on divesting of state lands. Voter registration starts today. Go out there. If you just turned 18, go out there, get registered. Your vote could determine your future, so don't take it for granted. I don't care whom you're voting for, but exercise the franchise. Exercise your right. It's a constitutional right. So get registered and vote. And as you do so, listen to critical details about what is going on in our country. It's one of those tricky times for many teens. I listened some time back to some students of the University of Ghana, and I was so impressed. How many months ago? They were reacting to developments in the country and all of that, and the eloquence and the thinking, not too many, and I don't say this to denigrate anybody, but when you hit 18 or you're on the cusp of it, at least you should have hit 18 for a period before you can register. Sometimes they are not fully vested with what is, or are fully abreast of what is happening in the country. Right. Sometimes it's a bit convoluted. Get yourself properly educated about what the status of our country is and vote based on that. Because if not, then you're also exercising the franchise, yes, but you are probably exercising it. There's no wrongly in there, but you're going to throw your vote to someone.
Vote with intention.
Yeah, vote with intention.
Vote with intention, yeah.
Information Minister designate tours media houses. I'll take a brief look at that. And GIPC lists $3.8 billion projects from 62 Ghanaian companies registered in 2023. New Finder newspaper, check your spelling of registered. And moves to address exit of foreign companies. So I'll do those two stories, pages 2 and 8. So the Ghana Investment Promotion Center is concerned about the departure of foreign companies from the country and has initiated engagements to address the underlying factors. Despite this negative trend, there is positive news as 62 wholly owned Ghanaian companies with a total investment volume of approximately $3.8 billion registered with the center in 2023. This contrasts with 122 in international businesses registering within the same period with investment volumes totaling $649.58 million. If I were the GIPC, I wouldn't get so excited. This is good. At least you have a bit of a buffer. But the question is, and it's a question I have posed here and I'm going to continue to pose, and likely I'll be talking about on Friday, part of my blunt thoughts. Why are all of these companies upping and leaving? I have my theories. I've done some investigations. I've also listened to the likes of Professor Kobi Mensah, among others. Things are not well. When companies start leaving en masse like they are, and I don't want to mention names, I'll leave that for when the research is done. There are problems. Read between the lines. There are problems. So while this is good and there is a buffer, so to speak, what are we doing wrongly that is, impacting these businesses? Not all of them. Some of them may leave for specific purposes. Some of them may even be profitable, but they may be looking at futuristic data. They may be looking at other developments that do not necessarily fit what they seek to achieve. So you may say, oh, they are profitable. I've seen some data on some institutions like that. Technically, they are profitable, but in the long term, this is not what they are looking for. So we must analyze all of that because as they go, it's also capital flight in a way. There's also one injured. multiple vehicles destroyed by rainstorm. I beg your pardon. And I'm sure you followed yesterday at the Ghana Airport Company Limited. I was there. It wasn't a joke. These pictures are from there. And also the switchback road where a tree fell on a motorbike and, you know, a military Land Cruiser. I mean, it was just a bad day. And it wasn't only those places. In other places too.
In fact, I was at a hospital facility in Nungwa when the winds came yesterday. And there was a small car, much like mine, parked on the side, on the curb.
Why did you have to reference your...
Because I want you to get a picturesque idea of the, you know, the size of the car. The wind just moved it from the curb onto where some market women were standing. And
wow.
It was such a... so it was serious. And
you know, back then...
I saw that. I thought, okay, it was that bad.
It was bad. I mean, it uprooted, it felled trees, and this is just by the by. But I hear back then when Tico, it was so light, you know, if another car passed by, it's good. So people were packing blocks.
What?
At the rear, the boot, to give it some
weight.
stability. Anyway, nobody has ever enticed me with money to rule on his or her favor or in his or her favor. Find a newspaper, you should be saying Asante Hines says so. And Information Minister designate towards media houses. The Ministry of Information has paid a courtesy call. I don't know whether they didn't mean minister, but it's a team. So the Ministry of Information has paid a courtesy call on some media houses as part of stakeholder engagements in the media sector. So the minister designate and her team, that is Fatima to Abubakar, visited the EIB group, which owns GH1 Star FM and Kasapa FM as its flagship brands. The team also visited Kesben Media and Wuntumi Radio and Television. Any thoughts on these matters before I quickly wrap with the Daily Guide?
Yeah, Ben, I heard about this new episode of companies going out of business entirely in Ghana or relocating their production apparatus to other countries because of high lending rates and also the current general economic challenges that we are in, which is driving up the cost of doing business in Ghana. You know, a few weeks ago, there were talks of Unilever moving its tea production to Nigeria. I thought that Nigeria was also in a challenging economic downturn, but for any company to move production there from Ghana, I think it should be alarming to all of us that our situation is quite dire. Already unemployment is a huge challenge in the country, and this phenomenon is making it worse. So here's what I think we should be focusing on as a nation. Number one, can we consider stopping this new approach of introducing new and, quite frankly, unnecessary taxes? Government can still meet its revenue targets by expanding the tax base without introducing new taxes or increase or promote productivity, in the country. And you wouldn't need to introduce new taxes to meet revenue mobilization goals. I think that an equitable and fair taxation policy is a very critical element to encourage these multinational companies to remain in the country. We are in an economic downturn, and we are working slowly towards recovery. So how do we encourage productivity across all sectors? An approach is to provide our tax incentives, right, and subsidies, for local companies who want to expand their production within the country in this period of economic downturn. Also, implement Bank of Ghana policies to make access to credit less expensive. That is, you need to continue to pursue those policies that will drive rates down so businesses can have access to credit in a cost-effective manner. Now, these incentives and initiatives, I believe that they can help to offset the higher cost of production and make it a bit more attractive for these businesses to remain in the country. One other economic policy I believe can encourage companies to keep their production in Ghana, especially during this period, is the implementation of protectionist policies or measures, right? What exactly do I mean by that? And of course, I'm not advocating for absolute import restriction here, but Ghanaians have developed a very good appetite for foreign goods, even if some of these goods are produced in Ghana at the same quality So these protectionist policies, I believe, can help restrict the importation of such goods to protect the local producers who don't have to compete for market share with similar products that are imported into the country.
Right. Just to walk us through these headlines as we get ready to go. Ioko to return OSP's empty DAPA docket. And this bit, the docket is empty. I listened to someone from the Office of the Special Prosecutor on Newsfile on Saturday, and it made for interesting listening, especially having listened to the Attorney General as well. I feel genuinely, we have to get to the point, not just for the politics of it, but let's separate the Attorney General's department or whatever from the Ministry of Justice. We've got to that point where we need it. The Attorney General can be political. The Minister of Justice can represent the people, because I feel where we've got to in some matters, I don't know. But limited voter registration begins today. I am ready to lead. Bawumia says so. Veep proposes tax amnesty. Let me just get to that story on page 3. That's the only thing I'll do. So the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has assured the Ghanaian electorate that he is prepared and ready to lead the country. He has therefore expressed his commitment to engage with the electorate, address their concerns, and present a compelling vision for the future of the country. But yesterday, I had an interaction with Nanaya Ajantua of the CPP, or formerly, and she said this: if he's not a strong Veep, he can't be a leader for us. How do you reconcile these two? Those will be that's my final bit. And that's to you,
well,
Wisdom.
he himself, okay.
Then I will deflect that back to you. But let me touch a little bit on the Cecilia Abinadapa item. Just a few seconds on that one. I think I can understand the public outcry about this whole case, right? And I kind of also understand why the opposition will want to reopen the investigation to correct what they believe was a mistake in handling the case, to uncover the truth, to also ensure that there is real accountability and restore public trust and restore confidence in the justice system and address any systemic issues. I believe that Ghanaians don't have closure in this matter, or they feel like they are not being told the truth by the authorities who are mandated to investigate this one. So I believe that there will be more to come on this case come December.
All right. And that's it from my end.
I don't think we are going to see the justice that we are all itching for in this case. I mean,
but why can't they just put the report out there? What is being hidden?
This is as far as it gets. It's just talk shop now. Sometimes I get irritated when I hear some of the comments that these people make, politicians make, because the whole venture is political, it's partisan, And the powers that be, they are orchestrating this and making sure that the truth never gets to light and the culpable people never meet justice. And we're just going to keep going in this non-ending cycle of, and he said this and this was missing and there was no report. And so what are the facts? Where did the money come from? Charlie.
Our politics is, there's whipping and all that. Yesterday I was interacting with a member of parliament, and he told me too that, listen, sometimes you even, on conscience, you think, on this matter, I should stand here. But you'll be whipped in line. Your party caucus will whip you in line. So, and if you don't follow if you don't toe the party's lines, it will cost you. They will root against you on the ground. You will lose your next primary. So,
those whipping people in line, do they understand that this is the only
that is the role they play? It's a party whip. No. It's a political institution. We set it up.
The party over the country.
And that's where the problem is. We've set up a system where these parties, the juggernauts, it is party. Yes, you may say that they serve the nation in a way, but it is party first, and that's the reality. Anyway, we don't have any special birthdays to celebrate, but if you're celebrating any special anniversary, your birthday, or anything today, we celebrate you. Now you've remembered.
Yes, yesterday was my mom's birthday. Grace Suga, I love you. You've always been a hard girl. Happy birthday to you, and I wish you many, many more years of healthy, successful life. I'll bring you plenty of money when I see you this weekend.
Sir. Send me Momo. Famumu no
yes,
hukume.
yes.
What in America? Famumu no
Yeah.
hukume.
Hukume.
Anyway, Wisdom, thank you so much for joining the conversation this morning. We're very grateful for your time.
Thank you, always.
All right. Wisdom Dogwe is a financial analyst. Before we go, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic calling one more time. They're offering prostate screening for free if you're a man, fertility screening for free if you're a woman. Their branches, across Sprintex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi, Chronomabwe here behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrade Anaji State, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa, and Esiaman Zima. If you'd like to call them, the numbers are 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. I am in some trepidation as sports starts because of the humbling of Manchester United by Crystal Palace. And some Arsenal fans in this building have started prompting me about how we're going to lock horns with them. But don't be deceived. The fact that Crystal Palace wallops us doesn't mean we can't whip the Gunners. Anyway, sports up next. Do stay.
Good morning. Welcome to the AM Sports with me, Haruna Mubarak. Now, the whole Youth Resource Center heralded as the would-be hub for the production of sporting talent in the region has become an eyesore. Now, my colleague Victor Achu-Tamaklo visited the facility and has the details in this special comprehensive report.
Sports Minister Mustafa Isif suggested that the Youth Resource Center in Ho had been completed.
The Youth Resource Centers, 6 of them have been completed. We have commissioned 1, and we are looking for His Excellency, the President, the Vice President schedule to ensure that we commission the rest of the 5. But even last year at Dakuluho, that's where we held the Independence Day celebration. And those of you who were there, you saw how magnificent the place was. Very nice.
3 months before his speech, President Akufo-Addo, during the commissioning of a similar facility in Koforidua, listed the facility in Ho as among those completed by his government.
I'm glad to state here today, in the coming days, the following identical projects will also be commissioned and handed over for use in 1, Wa in the Upper West region, 2, Ho in the Volta region, 3, Axim in the Western region, 4, Doma in the Bono region, and 5, Dukwa on the Fin in the Central region.
The last of those, and I'm talking here about the President's speech, was on the 27th of December last year. It's been over 4 months since he said the Youth Resource Center in Ho had been completed. But when you check out the facility, it would appear that the President had either been misinformed or he was knowingly misinforming us. Now, he's a good man, the President, and I have no reason to doubt his intentions except to say that his account of events was not consistent with the reality on the ground. This is the Youth Resource Center here in the Volta region, Ho. Some 6 years since sod was cut for work to begin on what was supposed to be a 2.4 million Ghana cedi facility. In 2018, then Sports Minister Isaac Esiama told us that when complete, this facility was supposed to have a handball, table tennis, basketball, and volleyball courts, a FIFA standard football pitch, and an 8-lane athletics track. Some 6 years down the line, the facility has only seen phase 1 of projects being completed. A year ago, I joined the sports minister and a team of journalists to inspect the progress of work on this facility. That time we learned that quite a bit has changed. The sports minister told us that the initial estimate of 2.4 million Ghana cedis was only enough to cover phase 1 of the project. That was enough for us to host the Independence Day celebration. So that happened. Shortly after the Independence Day celebrations, which took place here, work stalled completely. It's been 8 months since any sort of work on this project was done. The tartan tracks have not been laid. The football pitch is only a plain surface full of weeds and not grass. The volleyball, basketball, handball courts have all not been constructed. There is no sign of when work on this project is going to resume. But what is the extent of the neglect? Left at the mercy of rainfall, humidity and sunshine, the once bright seats are beginning to discolor. If I didn't know better, I could be forgiven for mistaking these seats to be old, but they were installed a little over a year ago. Also lying unattended to is what is supposed to be the tartan tracks. What you see is just painted concrete that is beginning to develop cracks. Last month, a rainstorm decimated the main gates, parts of the roof, the glass door, and other parts of the facility. Despite being owed in excess of 13 million Ghana cedis, the contractors moved to construct a new gate for the facility. The decimated glass doors have, however, not been replaced. When I spoke to the National Youth Authority's Chief Executive Officer, Pius Ajide, he could not clarify when work on the facility would resume.
Who is still work in progress. We believe that when financial releases are made, we have spoken to the contractors, they remain committed, and they have assured that when we settle our indebtedness to them, these outstanding issues that you are talking to can quickly be addressed. And in the specific case of Ho, yes, I can admit that there are some of the other sporting facilities that have delayed.
When I reached out to the District Assembly's Common Fund for a response on this matter, its administrator, Natoshi, said they were waiting for payments from the Ministry of Finance. To quote her, she said, "Once we receive and pay districts, then we can look at all others. Our first obligation, as per the Constitution of Ghana, is the districts. After that, we can look at other obligations," she said. So it is fair to deduce from her explanation that despite the President's assurances, the Youth Resource Center was not a priority as far as the DACF was concerned. The National Youth Authority was set up in 2016 by an Act of Parliament, Act 939, I believe. Now, that Act stipulates that funding, the main source of funding for the operations of the authority, shall be from the District Assembly's Common Fund, up to 5% of that. Beyond that, the other sources of income for the authority are funds that are approved by Parliament itself, return on investments made by the authority itself, grants and donations, or other monies that may be approved by the Finance Minister. So it's hard to imagine where money will come from for the NYA to be able to complete the project, given the inertia of the DACF. For now, though, the NYA has no choice but to play the waiting game.
In the formula that Parliament approves, and in the wisdom of the administration of the DACF, alternative arrangements have been made, and those have been approved by Parliament according to the disbursement formula as approved by Parliament. Regrettably, however, from December of 2022, the last quarter of 2022, up till now, the National Youth Authority is yet to receive any of its quarterly allocations. The DACF itself is also in arrears, that it is yet to receive funding.
When the project was progressing steadily, the NYA started engaging private entities over possibly leasing the managing rights of the assets to them. That, like construction works on the facility, has stopped.
Yes, and we have started the processes. We have advertised because we have to go through the public procurement methods.
Aren't you getting ahead of yourself? The facilities are not ready, and you're
that's why we have had to pull the brakes on the on that exercise. But we were hoping to walk and chew gum at the same time. We were hopeful that funding was going to be timely and enough, and that we were going to be able to complete on schedule. But we didn't want to complete and then take yet another long time to look for competitive and competent facility managers. So we thought that we could walk and chew gum at the same time.
4 months before this interview with Pius, the president had given assurances that monies will be made available for these projects to be completed.
I've been informed about the challenges facing the remaining 4 stadium and auxiliary facilities. Kalechi in the Greater Accra region, Navrongo in the Upper East region, Yendi in the Northern region, and Yurehime in the Ashanti region. I have prioritized the completion of these facilities and therefore requested the Minister of Finance and the District Assembly Common Fund to allocate the necessary funds to the National Youth Authority in accordance with Act 939 to ensure the timely completion of these legacy projects.
Yet, here we are with the facilities wasting away 6 years and 177 million cedis later. In the case of Ho, there is a small matter of a 13 million cedi debt waiting to be cleared before work resumes.
We have had conversations with the management of the DACF. We are also speaking to the Minister of Finance. We are very assured that very soon releases will be made to us. The total cost of the projects, the 10 projects, are around 342 million.
342 million.
For the 10 projects. We have made payments of around 177 million, which means that there is an outstanding of around 165 million to complete the facilities.
There's no telling when work will resume on this project, or when the Sports Ministry will be able to persuade the contractor, Wilcado Construction, to move equipment and staff back onto site and to finish what they started. But what we do know is that the facility is wasting away. For Joy Sports, Victor Achuta-Maklu.
That's your sports. My name is Haruna Mubarak. Thanks for watching.
Welcome back on the AM show. Even today is a bit, well, it's a little nippy. The weather is not as hot as it ordinarily would be. But yesterday, it was pretty wet. It came with thunderstorms, the wind blew, and some trees fell. What can we expect? You've seen the footage. What can we expect in the coming days? Joining the conversation, we have Joseph Tete Potofi. He is Deputy Director Forecasting at the Ghana Meteorological Agency. He joins the conversation. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
It's really good to have you join the conversation. You know, yesterday I was here in the studio and I could hear the thunder, the rumble of the thunder. I mean, about 3 times. It was that loud and you could hear it. Now, you know how our studios are pretty soundproof and all of that, but I could still hear it very loud. And then we went out to certain places, Switchback Road, Airport. There were other places, Achimota, affected. Is this to be expected, the intensity of the wind, the rain, and what we're experiencing?
Yes, because of the intense temperature that we are having, any development that will come, especially when we have warm air rising, which we normally call updraft, when it gets up, it becomes very cold, heavier, and when it's coming down, it comes with a very strong wind. And that is what we experienced yesterday.
So in other words, the intense heat, of course, over time, because one thing I've noticed, usually when there's a lot of heat one day, you would see that getting to the end of that day or the next day, there's rain early in the morning. Is that what you're referencing?
Yes, because when there's a lot of heat, a lot of evaporation takes place. And when evaporation takes place, that water vapor goes up, and that is what forms the clouds.
Mm.
So if we are lucky and we have low pressure areas, we have converging zones, then definitely it's going to develop into a cloud, and then the thunderstorms, and then we'll get rain. Currently, we are getting a lot of moisture from the sea because the winds are southeasterly winds. So once you are getting a lot of moisture and there is a lot of heat, evaporation will take place, and then it will come on us and then form clouds, and then we'll have a lot of rain. So that's what we are experiencing now.
Right. And so as it stands now, we know that the temperatures have been pretty high. We can expect more high temperatures, right? Which would then mean that if the high temperatures come through as we've had them over the last few months, then likely we'll continue to see more of these rainstorms. Is that a correct analogy to make?
Very well, it's very correct. That for us along the coast, once we start getting the rains, the cloud covers will be covering the sun. So the temperatures that as we experience in the, how do we call it, April and then early part of March and later part of April will come down. Those temperatures will definitely come down when we get into series of rains. But those of us at the northern part of the country, we should also brace ourselves for this strong wind, because the terrain there is savanna, it's very vast. So when you have a very strong wind, it can create a lot of problems for a lot of us. Fortunately for us in Accra, we have tall buildings. So yes, some of them can block the winds before it gets to another land ahead. So on the savanna regions, they should be very, very careful, because any storm that will hit that place will be very devastating.
Wow. Now, in terms of the intensity, this is not the first time in recent, weeks that I have seen you come to work and pretty early in the morning, it just clouds over and then it is raining. It is pelting from around 5 a.m., getting all the way till around 6 a.m. The intensity we saw yesterday and which we've seen in previous weeks, can we expect same or even worse?
Well, there is a possibility that we can expect the same over the coastal region. And in fact, this system that we are seeing moved all the way from beyond Nigeria 2-3 days ago, and we're tracking it. Fortunately for us, all the parameters ahead of this storm were perfect. We have the low pressures, we have the converging zone, we have everything. So once you have all those things ahead of the storm, it will be propagating. And fortunately also for us, we have a lot of moisture coming in from the Guinea coast. So there will be what we call daughter cells developing ahead of the storm. So once we have those things and we are seeing it, then it will move. And this storm will move all the way into the Atlantic. And some of these storms are the storms that goes to the Americans and things and create hurricanes for them. So they are very interested in our weather also. So there's a possibility that what we saw yesterday will definitely reoccur before we get out of the rainy season.
What then, before I come to you for your weather advice then, you've seen, I'm sure you followed the scenes from yesterday, different parts of Accra affected, like you can see in your shot. I was actually here at the Ghana Airport Company Limited, where some vehicles had trees falling on them, destroying them. I mean, some were mangled. Now, you look at these, and what would you say for people who live in weak structures, buildings, all right, but they've been there for decades and may have some cracks here and there. People who may be in kiosks and all of that, ramshackle structures, those close to trees, and then those around billboards. For example, when it's raining, is it right to shelter in close proximity to a tree or a billboard? I just want your advice on some of these, because yesterday we saw what we did.
Yes, I think when you look at the weather warning we issued yesterday around 5 a.m. before the rains, yes, we said a thunderstorm with strong winds. And if it was the aeronautic, we would have mentioned the speed of the wind. But for the general public, when I said it's a 30 knots or 60 knots, nobody will be able to comprehend it. But for the aeronautical purposes, we will state the speed of the wind itself. And this was issued around 5 a.m. Right. If we issue something like that, even before we get into the rainy season, when we did our seasonal forecast, we outlined some measures that the populace should take. You should reinforce your building. Make sure you call a carpenter in to come and reinforce the roofing sheet and everything. Now, if you have trees that, per mistake, buildings and structures have cut their roots off. Once the roots are off, that tree will not be able to stand firm. So any strong wind can bring the tree down. Then we also advise that if it is possible, they should trim some of the trees, because when the leaves are many on the tree and the wind gets into the tree, definitely the force will pull. The force at the top will be bigger than the one at the ground, and then the tree will come down. Now, for billboards, yes, people should be wary of getting closer to billboards, getting closer to walls, because some of the rains, when they come, they push walls down, buildings collapse. But most importantly, when you know where you are staying and it's flat front area, place, we advise that whenever the rain is coming, move to a safe haven or a higher ground. At least the rain will stop, and then you can come back to your house. And then make sure that at least if you are living in the house, you put your valuable things on top of your building, because you may not know. There might be flash floods or something, and it will come into your room. And also, we are advising people that they shouldn't wait when it's coming to rain. Then they move out all their debris and then their rubbish and go and dump them in the gutter. You saw what happened yesterday. A lot of debris on the road. Yes, they are in the gutters. The gutters are made for water to pass it, but we have put solid waste into them. If the water could not pass it to rain, it will come onto the road. If it doesn't get it straight to the road, it will come into our homes. So we are appealing to everybody to at least be environmentally conscious and make sure that we do the right thing. Rains are very good. Unfortunately for us, we in Accra and some cities, our resilience level currently is very low. Those days, before Accra will get flooded or we get flash flood, it might rain for almost 3 or 4 or 5 days. Maybe you have 60 millimeters of rain for about a week before Accra will get flood. But currently, if we have 26, 30, 35 millimeters of rain over Accra, Accra will get flooded. So it means the resilience
but what explains that?
Very drastically. Just because
Mr. Potofi,
we have invaded on the land, we have paved a lot of places, we have cemented a lot of places, we have built houses in a lot of places. So when it rains, water cannot percolate into the soil. And once the water cannot percolate into the soil, it will run over. And when the drainage systems too are not very huge, to contain, and we have silted them and to contain the running water, yes, to go into the sea, then it will spill onto the roads and into our homes. And that's why I'm saying that the resilience level of Accra has dropped drastically. So until we check all these things, yes, as for flash floods, big cities will have it. But it's the resilience and the things that they do, that will not hamper any life and property. And that will also determine on how fast the flash flood will recede. So let's all try and then listen to at least the early warnings that will be given. And then when we give it out, we should make sure that at least we look at our surrounding areas and then make sure that we protect ourselves, our properties and ourselves.
Right. And 2 things you mentioned that the head of the Parks and Gardens mentioned. He mentioned that some of the trees, people build walls. For example, when you look at the Netherlands residence and the Italian embassy, that tree that fell at the Switchback Road, it's because its roots entering that place had been cut off, right? So the roots to 3 other angles were there. But that portion that was cut off, that was the angle from which the wind blew. And that's why it fell over there. So that point is to be made. There's a second point you made that just skips my mind. I think when I went to the Ghana Airports Company Limited, that also came to the fore. But I guess we all have to be cautious. So finally, before you leave us, what would be your weather advice? Final words on that. What can we expect in the coming days, this week, and in the coming weeks? And how should we prepare for it?
Thank you very much. For today, yes, we have a bright and sunny day over the coastal areas. However, in the forest and then the forest hilly area, from 2 p.m. going, they should expect some thunderstorms. But in the weekend, around the weekend, yes, we should expect some thunderstorms over the coastal areas, which will also bring a lot of rain down. And to the north also, Bokowa and then the East environs, yesterday they have their fair share of the rain. And then we're also expecting that in the midweek, that is from Thursday going, they also get their rain. But for us in Accra, what I'm saying is we are in a typical rainy season. The rain has started. So all the things that we need to do to make us safe, we should make sure that we adhere to them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tete Potofi. We are very grateful for your time. And that is Joseph Tete Potofi. He is Deputy Director Forecasting at the Ghana Meteorological Agency. He joined us, and like he says, well, today will be somewhat sunny and all of that, but we can expect as the sun continues to blaze up in the sky that this is going to happen from time to time. There will be evaporation, condensation, and the rains will come. And when they do, well, guess what? We're also going to have some of these happening from time to time. Billboards ripped to the floor, trees falling to the ground, trees getting felled, property getting destroyed. So let's all stay aware, right? Let's be cautious. When it starts raining, it's windy and all of that, take cover. Don't go and stand under any billboard or anything of the sort. It could collapse. And yesterday we saw that tree falling on a vehicle and also a poor motor rider. But we're going to take a little break and then come through with other stories, the Electoral Commission versus IMANI, among other things. But have you heard? It's all about the fourth industrial revolution. It is here. But what does this mean for Ghana and Africa? Join global and local leaders to address the impact of technology at the first ever Industry Engagement Forum 2024 by Industry Immersion Africa in collaboration with the MasterCard Foundation Ghana and the Ministry of Education through the National Service Scheme. Be a part of this groundbreaking immersive experience. Now, the two-day event will serve as a pivotal platform fostering dialogue and collaboration in a bid to bridge the industry-academia gap, empower STEM graduates across Africa, and combat youth unemployment. Now, the theme is industry driving AI and 4IR, that is the fourth industrial revolution in Africa, collaborative pathways for digital transformation in Ghana. The date is Wednesday, the 22nd of May, and Thursday, the 23rd of May, 2024. Time, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. each day. The venue is the UPSA Auditorium here in Accra. You can check out www.iiafrica.org for more information and to register as well. Our media partners, Joy 99.7 FM, Joy News, and www.myjoyonline.com. We'll take a breather. When we return, we're talking about those who have just turned 18. We're talking about the voter registration exercise. We're talking about IMANI Africa taking on the Electoral Commission. We'll be right back. Welcome back on the AM show. Now, from today, this is the kickstart of a 21-day limited registration exercise in all 268 district offices and 700 difficult-to-access electoral areas, including 25 public universities. Now, the exercise kicks off amidst controversy over the auction of some obsolete BVDs and BVRs within IMANI Africa. There's a lot to this, but let's focus for now on the process. Those who have just turned 18, the registration, where this is happening, and what to expect. Thankfully, we have joining the conversation the Director of Electoral Services with the Electoral Commission. I'm talking about Dr. Sribo Kweku. He's been gracious enough to join us this morning. Doc? Okay. Adam, thanks for joining us. So here we are. Let's go right to it. It started today. It's going to last till the 27th, right?
Yes.
The 27th day, so which is a Monday.
Yes.
And that's it. But what can you walk us through as of today? What has started, where, and if there are any challenges as of now?
Okay.
Thank you very much. My regards to your listeners. As you said, we are starting the registration today, so you have already started.
Right.
But it starts at 7 o'clock every day, including weekends, and it ends at 6 p.m. The reason why we start early at 7 is that some people may want to register before even they go to their workplaces. And we also close at 6, so that if you close work at 5, you have 1 hour to also go visit the place. If your schedule says that between 8 and 5 you can go, you have 1 hour before and 1 hour after to do that. Again, we are having it at, administratively, for a local government level, they have 261 offices or districts. But Electoral Commission operates 268 because we operate at the sub-metros too. So we are covering 268 our Electoral Commission's offices.
Right.
In addition to that, we have identified 785 difficult to access areas. And this one was selected by our district officers in consultation with the political parties and opinion leaders. So they brought the list and we reviewed the list and approved the 785 centers. In addition, we are covering the 25 public universities in the county. So if you add, I have not done the calculation, but you get it, 268 plus 785 plus 25. So these are the centers that we are registering people. Again, if you look at Article 42 of the Constitution, it says that every Ghanaian 18 years and above has the right to vote and as a result should be registered. And that is exactly what we are doing. But the question is, every Ghanaian, who is a Ghanaian? 18 years and above, how do we determine that? Right. That is why we are saying that by law, CR 91, as amended with by 126, it says that for you to prove that you are a Ghanaian and you are 18 years, you need to provide a passport or a Ghana card. If you don't have any of these two documents, then you need 2 registered voters who know you very well to vouch for you or to guarantee for you. And those guarantors too cannot guarantee for more than 10 voters.
Right.
So in short, this is what we are doing. I also want to add that there are people who have misplaced or have a spoiled ID card. They are not supposed to be registering now. Okay. We have people too who have...
So this limited registration is not for them?
Exactly so.
Okay.
And some people too are also saying that they have relocated. If you registered in, let's say, Kumasi and you are now in Accra, you are not going to register again because we have only one voters register, and that register is for Ghana. So no matter where you registered, you are part of that register. So we have also set aside the 30th of May to the 14th of June to replace those whose cards have been destroyed or lost or whatever. And all those who have also relocated, we are giving them the 30th of May to the 14th of June to apply for transfer and also to apply for prosy. So they don't need to register again. If you have lost your card or you have relocated and you register, the system knows you. The system will quarantine you and add to the multiple list. In that case, you lose your vote. Because once you are put on the quarantine list for having engaged in multiple registration, you cannot even vote. So they should not attempt to do that.
So where you registered last year, that's where, and unless you've moved, then you have to make the necessary. And you know, when you were speaking, you just got me. I always carry my voter's ID. So I quickly looked at it. Has it been defaced? No. So
you don't need any replacement?
I am good to go. I don't need. But in terms of the time, I just want to confirm. Are all these centers opening at exactly 7 o'clock?
Exactly. So that's what's supposed to be.
Is that the report you are getting as of today? That all the centers?
Because I was moving to this place, I have not made a call, but they are all supposed to start at 7, and I believe they are ready to do so.
Some have asked the question, and you know, we've been out there. We have a segment, a show called Just Turned 18. We've interacting with young people, and some would even ask you, why should we register to vote and all of that? Why is it crucial for these ones just turning 18 to vote?
I don't know if you remember, I think 93 or so, Honorable Speaker Gabriel was appointed or was nominated as minister. But because of not having registered, he was denied that opportunity. Again, if you are not a registered voter, there are a lot of positions that you cannot occupy. Again, when somebody you know, you may decide not to contest an election, but you may have a friend or relative who wants to contest, and that person may need your support to file the form or to fill the form. That one too will not be there. So you just get the card first, so they become a registered voter. And you should be patriotic to participate in elections. There's a saying that if the wise people decide not to vote, I'm sorry to use the word, the fools will vote for you. Because if there's only one person going to vote for presidential, assume the whole Ghana, everybody decided that the person will not vote. The one person vote for you, you become the president. Yeah. Because the law doesn't talk of what you need certain number of votes before you become the president. So that you should
cross 50%.
Exactly. So if there's one vote, that one vote is 100%. You have gotten it. Yeah. So if you
even if 3 people vote and 2 vote for you,
you have won.
Not 60 plus.
Exactly. So don't sit on the fence. You should be patriotic. You should be involved in the decision making. You need to also have your voice heard. And and you see, me, I always say that in life, I'm here to know. But one of the only thing that this does not discriminate is voting. Whether you are a billionaire, whether you are a professor, whether you are somebody who has not attended school or not, you all have one vote. So that is where we put everybody at par. So don't stay away from registering and voting. It is your fundamental human right, and you need to exercise it.
I just want a quick clarity on this, because there may be the tendency. You can't vouch for more than 10 people.
Yes.
Every election, we find elements trying to cut corners and all of that. Just spell out, what are the punitive measures for people who engage in such activities and other, infractions of the law?
Yeah. So this time the system has been built. Even the previous one, we have identified people who vouch for more than 10, and we are trying to isolate them and hand them over to the security services for prosecution. So if you are going to vouch for people, be sure that you don't vouch for more than 10 for this registration. If you vouch for people in 2020 and 2023, that's not what I'm talking of. For the 2024 election, don't vouch for more than 10. The system has it that once we finish the exercise, you can pull out the number of people each guaranteed for. And this time around, we can show them that we will prosecute them.
All right, someone just sent in a message asking, how about those who have relocated outside of Ghana? Are we going to have any, I mean, in the past, we've had all of this in terms of those outside the country and what measures could be brought to bear. What is going to happen this year? Do we have any plans for that?
For now, to the best of my knowledge, there's no provision for people outside the country.
All right. Let's also look at the numbers. How many are you hoping to register? I know that according to Jean Mensah, projections are to register 623,000 new registrants for the exercise to augment the 910,000 you already got from the new registration.
That is a 2020.
Exactly.
2023.
Yep.
Then you have 17 million today.
Right.
Yes.
So why this target? How did you come by this 623,000? How are you going to get there?
If you, from the statistical projection from the Ghana Statistical Service, they are saying that about 450,000 people turn 18 every year. So given that we compare the last year, then we have 1 year, that is 450,000. We also know that there are some people who have turned 18 but they did not register. So plus the mothers will add the additional figures. But if you look at people who have turned 18 years for a particular year, it's supposed to be 450,000. So we don't project less than that. But we also know that there are some people who are above the age of 18 and they have also not registered. That's why we are projecting to go around 600 plus.
All right. There are some specific groups that need help. Persons with disabilities, our brothers and sisters. What are the plans for them in terms of this registration?
We engage them on Friday. People, we engage them on Friday. And as policy, they are not supposed to be queuing. We have to set up our centers in accessible place because of some of them being physically disabled. So, one, our centers are going to be accessible. Two, they are not supposed to be joining the queue. And three, when they go and they need any assistance, we will give them. The only challenge is with respect to those who need sign languages. It will be difficult for us to recruit people all over the place, but some of them, they will go and have their information written on a sheet of paper. Then we use that to register. I'm talking of the visually, not visually impaired, but hearing, those with hearing impairment, yes.
Impairment.
Yes, but anybody, and this time they have expanded it to about 12 different groups with albinism, psycho something, a lot of them. So when they go and they identify themselves, we'll give them the priorities that they need.
I see. I'll be coming to you shortly. We're crossing over to Kumasi now at the EC's regional office in Kumasi. Nana Boakye Adam joins the conversation. Nana Boakye, if you can hear me, what have you observed so far this morning? Did voting start at 7 or did actually registration? Yes. I'm in a hurry. Did registration start at 7 on the dot? What are the scenes in Kumasi currently?
Well, Benjamin, we are currently at the Ashanti Regional EC office. Will be hosting 4 different constituencies. We have Bansana and then the right here, and then Menchia South and Menchia North over here. You can see that some fresh registrars are also coming in to participate in the voter registration exercise. Party agents are also seated here, monitoring and observing how the process is currently ongoing at the Ashanti Regional EC office. Let's get to one person who's now coming to register for the first time. It's the first time. This is the first time coming to do the registration. I've been encountered in the past so far. Are you a student? Okay, but you were given a chance to come and participate in this exercise. How do you feel? You are registered to participate in the election, I guess. But then, have you gone through the process? So, okay, how was the first stage? Okay. What was your name? Okay. So, Benjamin, that is Kelvin. He's also coming to participate in the exercise for the very first time. Some of them are also seated here. I want to speak to this gentleman. I think he has also been through the first phase. I want to join me shortly. You've been through the first phase of the exercise, right? How was it? It was good. Why did you decide to participate in the exercise? You really don't have any reason to. You just wanted to participate in the exercise. But then you've been to the first phase, right? Okay. And what are you waiting for? You have to wait for the second phase, I guess. Right, thank you so much.
All right, so we apologize for the poor quality of sound there. We'll try to work on that and get back to Nana Boakye Adam in the Ashanti region, Kumasi to be specific, at that Electoral Commission regional office. But coming back to Dr. Sribo Okweku, the Director of Electoral Services at the EC, he's still in the studio. I was going to find out from you, I know that CODEO has observers, that they're observing this registration process and all of that, but are political parties allowed to also observe the registration? What are the processes? What can they do? What can they not do?
Thank you very much once again. Because of transparency of the system, we always want people, as many as they can, to apply for them to be accredited and for them to observe these exercises. As I said earlier, we met the political parties. So the political parties have been asked to send their agents to the centers. The political party agents are supposed to help us to clean the system. So that and they are living with the aspiring voters or the applicants in their communities. So when anybody appears there and the person is suspected to be a foreigner or underage, minor, they have to call our attention to that. They don't need to physically confront anybody or physically drag away anybody. So what they do, assuming you are the presiding officer, and somebody is, I will just come to you, that this person who is standing there, that he's a Ghanaian. I know him, and he's not a Ghanaian. Then you will ask the aspirant that this is what
so that individual can challenge this person.
Including any Ghanaian who qualifies to register as a voter.
Right.
So the agents are there specifically for that. But anybody, including you, if you happen to be there and somebody is there, you know the person. As I said, don't physically challenge the person, but let the officer know. Then if the person insists that he's a Ghanaian or is above 18, there's what we call a challenge form.
Okay.
Then we will help you to fill. I'm using the word, we will help you in the sense that you may decide that you want to compete with yourself, or the officer will compete for you. And the process is that after the form had been completed, the one who is making the challenge, the challenger, and the person who has been challenged will appear before a committee, which is called District Registration Review Committee, DRRC. And they have the powers of the district court in their operations. So they will sit on such cases and they have the power to subpoena people to appear, to come and testify. They have that power.
Right.
But they don't have power to sentence. So their work is to establish whether you qualify or not, but they cannot sentence you to prison, whatever. But in gathering data, they can seek people's testimony, whatever, and that's all they can. So they will subpoena. And this committee is made up of the electoral commission officer there. He is a member secretary. Then we have district police commander, district director of education, a traditional ruler, and a representative from the political parties. They constitute the committee, and they will sit and adjudicate on that. The political parties are in, and you know there will be a reason that they have interest.
Yeah.
The district police commander is there because it's an issue bordering on law. The district director of education is there because most people might have gone to school before, or the person might have gone to school before. So if it becomes necessary that we need to go and pull the person's data from the school, the district director of education can easily do that for them. And the land belongs to the traditional owners. So all these people are members. And the electoral commission person is the secretary and member of the committee. So they will sit and give education. And the law is that once they decide, commission has 21 days to give effect to the decision. But it goes further to say that anybody who does not agree with the judgment can now escalate it to the High Court to...
How do you mean to avoid or avert some of those circumstances where maybe you have NDC and MPP and this one says, oh, the person is 18. That one says the person is not 18. What mechanisms beyond this, how do you resolve it? Are you speaking to the parties at IPAC to prevent those debates?
We've heard national IPAC meeting.
Right.
We've heard regional IPAC meeting. And we've heard district IPAC meetings. All these things have been discussed. And those things. So the parties know that they are not supposed to physically do this. So if you have any issue, go ahead.
Fill the form.
Exactly.
All right. Interesting question, though. Can anyone register, anywhere within the district?
Yes.
Apart from West specifically?
Yes.
Anywhere in the district?
Yes. Because the issue is that we are doing it at the district office.
Right.
So no matter where you are residing, you are coming to the district office to do. Then with respect to the mobile team, when the mobile team goes to a specific electoral area, there's a catchment area. So if the team is not within your electoral area, but you are within an electoral area nearby, you also have the right to go and register. But when we finish, we'll do exhibition where we will exhibit it at the various 40-something thousand polling stations. So 38,000 polling stations.
You mentioned difficult to reach areas, and I know usually some islands and others will also be in there. What is the approach to these areas? What are some of there are some pretty difficult to reach areas.
Yes, so
which ones are going to be your focus? You can just talk about a few of them.
Yeah, so as I said, we have 785 difficult to access areas. And these lists were compiled by our officers in the district in consultation with the political parties and other opinion leaders. So if I am a district officer for, let's say, the Ajuso, I have been working there, I should know the terrain. So I should know areas where the applicant will find difficult to come to the district offices. And so they compile those lists and we review them and approve for them. So what has been agreed upon is that I think the district with the highest is at 12. That's the Afram Prince North. So what it means is that they will have 12 electoral areas to visit. And they are supposed to spend 2 days in each of the electoral areas. Basically, the difficult to access areas don't normally have huge numbers of 18 years and above. So even 1 day should be enough for them. They said that 2 days for each of the 785 difficult to access areas. Then at the university, we have given them 3 days per university.
All right. What is the approach to SAL in all of this?
What approach to
SAL? Sandro Kofi, Akpafu, Lolobi, Likpe.
So now they are now treating them as one of our districts. It's part of a district now. So we don't have separate regulation for, it's now one district in Masa. So we don't have separate.
All of them are in one catchment area. Is that what you're saying?
So one will have the district office plus some of the difficult to access areas. I don't have the list here. But I know one is racing at its office because we have an office, this office there now, plus some of the difficult to access areas.
Okay, so that matter is not going to pose any problems?
Not at all. They are being treated as any district in Ghana. So we don't have separate regulation for one. It's now a district in itself. So when you say this applies to a district, they are part of it.
Anything else we should know about this current limited voter registration exercise? You've already mentioned that for those who have lost their cards, have defaced cards and the rest, it will start from the 30th of May to the 20th of June, right? But
no, for 14th of June. So 15 days.
30th of May to the 14th?
Yes.
14th of June?
Yes, that's 15 days.
All right, so that's 15 days. 30th May to 14th June.
Including those who have relocated.
Sure.
So the transfer is also there. Then Prosi, you're sitting here, maybe you may want to travel outside the country on the 7th of December. So you can also come to office within that period. The 30th May to 14th of June to also apply for Prosi. So that you nominate, let's say me, who is a voter in your polling station to also vote for you. It could be your wife, it could be your friend, it could be the most important, the person should be a reserve voter in the same polling station with you.
All right. Let's now look at this issue of IMANI Africa taking you on, taking you to CHRAJ.
I would wish that we would concentrate on the...
Well, I mean, we're still trying to get some of our reporters, our colleagues, to get us the feed. But while we do that, I just want to know what the thinking is on that. I've heard you address, in a way, the issue with the BVDs and BVRs and how they ended up. But you look at the timelines and all of that. IMANI is questioning that, look, are some of these BVDs and BVRs not those procured in very recent years? And they want to take you to CHRAJ. What is the reaction of the EC when it comes to this? Because it's taxpayers' money and everyone is concerned. And it's also about the information that may be on these closure.
There's half of information, there's no information on them.
How can we guarantee that?
Oh, see, if you understand the system, we are talking of two IT products.
Right.
One is BVR. The BVR is like laptop linked to anything. And when you register the people, I always say have what we call end of life. So when end of life means that you link into our system and every information is taken off. So every BVR after registration and after end of life operation, it becomes blank, back to default setting. So there's no data on that. Then with
it becomes blank automatically.
Yes, exactly, no data at all. At all.
You mean at the end of life, if you've not copied whatever data from there, everything is gone?
You will copy. That's what every BVR will be subjected to the end of life processes. And once you do that,
all right.
Yes, once you go to the end of life, that's what the word is, end of life processes. Mean that for the registration, it has finished its work. So it becomes blank, nothing in it. Then when we are talking of the BVD too, the BVD by themselves don't contain data. We have SD card that have been inserted in. Once you take off the SD card, it's also blank.
Okay.
And the SD card, as you know, they have the data contains what they call the QR code. So every time we are going to use the BVD, we generate the QR code. So if you were using the BVD for, let's say we use it for 2023, there were SD cards that were inserted in. Maybe they have been taken off. Now, if you're going to do it for 2024, you have to insert another SD card, which has also different data. And the QR code varies from date to date and the time that you use. So if you take any SD card now, assuming that even those who stole the SD card, stole the BVD, at that time the SD card were in. Now that SD card QR code is for that district level election.
Right.
So if you think you can use it for 2024, the QR code will not work.
So the QR code only operates at the district level for that election.
Exactly.
And so you will use a different SD card, different QR code in election 2024 in that district.
Exactly so. In that polling station, let's say not even.
Okay, so in that polling station.
So if you steal it, you cannot use it. That's it. And if on the day of election, if you steal that day and you want to use it, you have to use it at a located polling station. Because you need the register with the QR code on the register. So if you take it and you want to take it to your room, you don't have the register because you need to have the hard copy of the register so that you can scan and get the data. So if you have the BVD without the register, it's of no use.
Right. But it is bad enough that we have some of these devices getting pilfered, stolen, and all of that. How did that happen?
Let me ask you. I don't know how long you have been here.
Are you talking about stolen gadgets? Yeah.
Yes, I'm saying so. If in your office here.
But we have CCTV cameras and there are ways of.
But still, somebody would try to steal. Or you haven't experienced any stolen story before?
There have been.
Yes. So see, and our suspicion, it is at the court. That's why I don't want to go to the. But our suspicion is that those people who did that are people within, not an outsider.
Right.
There are people
within the system.
Yes. And you know what? This is how the system is. We have a warehouse where all the items are. There are CCTVs there. Then when you are going to work on them, it's like you move it from here to another room. And you need to transport them from one vehicle. Because they are all in, I don't want to expose the location, but they are in different buildings. You need to convey and the police escort to another building. So standing here, some people are saying that you need to check the CCTV. Some of them have been there for about 3 years. So what it means that you need to review the CCTV up to the first time you sent them there. But we suspect that they are not issues that were done at the offices, but in the course of transiting the system from one location to another location. But all these things are before the security people, they are investigating. Some people have been paid. Some people have been put before court. And so let's wait.
How many people have been picked up so far?
So far, the last time I checked, I think there were 4.
I heard of 5 at a point, but these are staff of the election.
A lot of but those are the 4 were those who were put before court.
Okay, but staff of the Electoral Commission?
Permanent and temporary.
Permanent and temporary. Right.
I'm not saying they agree to you, but these are the suspects.
Oh, of course. Not guilt hasn't been established
exactly.
Yet. But usually, technically, just answer this for me. What are the protocols for disposing of such, gadgets, BVDs and BVRs? What are the standard protocols?
What we normally do is that,
and please let me add, not just disposal, also checking the account of what is here at any given time. How often are these checked?
We have our procurement inventory management session. They are in charge of all our stores. So everything that goes out, they will issue out and track. So that at any point in time, when you are supposed to bring them, even one is missing, they will know that we give you 100, but you have brought 99. That's why there was a time, I think there was another letter that reminding them that there were shortages of respect to what they brought, and they have to refund. So that is the storage aspect. Right now, as we are doing the registration, all the kits, they have serial numbers. When they are issued to the district, there's the district storekeepers, we call them supply officers, who will come from their regions to come and pick them. Okay. They sign a waiver, and everybody knows that these serial numbers of these machines are with this particular region.
All right.
So that's how they are sent out. Now, if you come to the disposal in terms of auctioning, is that what you're saying? Yes. So if you take the recent one, I brought all the documentation, you were not here, and I didn't know I brought them.
That's fine.
So the Director of Administration, he's in charge of storage and those things. He wrote that the regions, we have 16 regions, plus the headquarters, we have some obsolete materials, including vehicles.
Okay.
So they wrote to the commission that they need those items to be disposed of. Because if you don't use them, you create, what they call it, you occupy space. And these BVDs and BVR we are talking of are those which were used before 2020. In 2020, we acquired new BVDs and BVRs. Therefore, all those that were acquired before are classified as what? Obsolete. Right. If you take the one before the 2020, the current one is like a phone with an Android facility, right? The previous one does not take pictures. It only scans, it doesn't take pictures. But the current one can be used even for phone. If you put in your SIM card in it, you can use it.
Okay.
So immediately you acquire the new one, the old one cannot be used because the major difference between the previous one and the current one is the facial recognition.
Okay.
There were a lot of complaints about some fingerprint not being picked. So the new technology or new system introduced facial recognition. Okay. So what it does is that if you have 10 fingers, none of them is picked by the machine. When you are registering, you register with the 10 of them. The law is that if you have 6 fingers, you will be recognized with the machine. So that's why you should not take less than 6 fingers. Okay. So at least...
I'll come back on this digital bit. My sincere apologies. Let me bring back Nana Boakye Adam at the EC's regional office in Kumasi. Nana Boakye, over to you. What can you see from where you stand currently?
Well, Benjamin, we are currently at the Ashanti Regional EC office here in the Ashanti constituency. The exercise began at exactly 7 a.m. The process has been smooth so far. Police deployment has been on point. You can see that some policemen are here. Some of them are also stationed at my far left, monitoring the process to make sure that everything goes on smoothly. Some of the new applicants are also coming in to participate in the exercise. We have party agents who are also seated here. This regional office is going to house 4 constituencies: Bantama, Inshaesu, Menchia South and Menchia North. And so party agents from these constituencies are supposed to observe the exercise for their various political parties. And so we'll be interacting with some of the people who are coming in to register for the very first time. You're participating in the exercise for the very first time. How has it been? Or have you been through it already?
No, I'm still in the queue. I'm just waiting for to be called.
You're waiting to be called. Which district or which constituency?
From Menchia South constituency.
Menchia South constituency. You've not even been through the first phase?
No, please. I'm just waiting.
For how long have you been here?
For like 30 minutes.
30 minutes, yes. So far, why are you participating in this exercise, first off?
As a good citizen, I must vote, so I should engage myself in these activities.
So that means you are very much certain on participating in this upcoming election?
Most definitely. As a good citizen, I must vote.
Great. But you're a student?
Yes, please, I'm a student.
Okay. But you were given break to come and participate in the exercise?
Yes, please. As the Ghana Education Service has made a directorate, I think I saw it since yesterday, that all students should be allowed to, partake in this exercise. So I think we are cool to go.
Great. And so he's also a student. He was given the chance to come out of school to participate in this exercise today, and that is why he's participating here. He says that most definitely, he has to participate in the upcoming election. But let's get to some party agents who have been monitoring the exercise since 7 a.m. An agent for the National Democratic Congress. How has the process been since it started?
Good.
Have you encountered any challenges whatsoever?
Not yet. Not yet. So maybe as the time goes on, maybe we'll see and maneuver what brings on board.
Okay, but then we can see that some of the new applicants are coming in. Are you okay with how they are being brought inside, or you have challenges with that?
Yes, we have a lot of challenges. Looking at even their physique is one, their physique, and some of them we know where they come from. We know where they come from, and some of them are also not within our electoral. So we may place a lot of challenges on them. We may place a lot of challenges on them.
Then with this challenge or claim that you're making right now, have you raised any concerns with the AC?
No, not yet, but as and when they move to the table, we will place our challenge on them.
Thank you so much. You're an agent for the NDC, right?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay, but your party is set on everything here in the Ashanti region to make sure that people come and register.
Yes. We are also basing a lot of people within most of the electoral. Menchia South has 6 electoral areas. So we've embarked on campaign to bring a lot of them on board, so that
you are basing a lot of people.
No, we see that it's a campaign. It's a campaign between the people, the leaders in the Menchia South constituency. So we are bringing a lot of people, those who are at the peak of registering. So we bring them on board so that they come and register.
How do you bring them here?
We tell them we've done campaign.
You have a means of transport to bring them here.
Yes, it's just a supporting means to bring them here.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll get back to you. And for the MPP, how has the process been? Have you encountered any challenge whatsoever?
No, we've not encountered any challenge so far. When, as you said, the process started at 7 and things are moving on smoothly, as you can observe for yourself. For now, there is no challenges. The security men are here to also ensure security so that the registration goes on smoothly as we all want it to go.
Are you also putting in measures to transport people from various districts to come and participate in the exercise?
I wouldn't say transporting, but you see, actually, to say it was the job of the NCC to make sure the campaign or the information goes down well with them. But as usual, all the political parties, when it comes like this, the main thing is about elections, winning our elections. And as you can see, we also provide way that the people can have easy access to come and then register and go home. And most of the time, you see, these kids, I wouldn't say kids, they are now 18 years and above. Some of them, when you go there, you have to seek the consent of the parents before you go and then come and then register. So if that happens, it means we not. It happens that way. So let's see what the process goes.
All right, thank you so much. We are wishing you all the best as you bring your people to come and participate in the exercise. But then, Benjamin, this is the Ashanti Regional EC office. This is the atmosphere here. A number of students, new applicants are coming in to participate in the exercise. Security is tight, EC officials are set. Everything is going on smoothly. The process started at exactly 7 a.m. Since then, everything has been smooth. The police they've been here to brief the EC officials and then party agents on how they are going to make sure that this place is not disturbed. The process is not being disturbed. They are going to make sure that their men keep their eye on everything that goes on here in the regional office to make sure that the process goes on smoothly. And so we'll bring you up to speed details, but for now, the process started not long ago. We are expecting a number of people to come in to participate in the exercise. And so very soon we'll be having all of them coming, and then would give you a clear picture of how this place looks like. But then, as I said, the place will be housing 4 constituencies: Bantama, Inshayeso, Menchia South, and Menchia North. This is the Ashanti Regional EC office. Over to you, Benjamin.
Nagwachi Adam, thank you very much for that update. And of course, that is from the EC's regional office in the Ashanti region, Kumasi to be specific. Let me come back to you quickly. I'll quickly go to the fingerprints bit, 10 fingers versus 6 fingers, so that we can address some of what came up there. The NDC representative spoke about the physique, as he called it, of some of those registering and challenges that they likely would make, and the fact that some of them are not even within the catchment of that electoral area. But let's start with the digital footprint that you were talking about, yes. 10 fingers versus...
Yes, I was saying that when you were registering, we need at least 6 fingers, so that if it is 5, you can use one right hand to register. You go to another place to use the other 5 to register. That's why we want to, so that all the hands will have been captured. so that if you try to register, the system will catch up with you. Now, when you register you take your pictures. The main purpose of the new BVD is that previously, a lot of people, when they go, because of the nature of what they do, the system was finding it difficult to capture the fingerprints. That's why we introduced the new one that will do the facial recognition.
Right.
So when you go there, they will try the fingers. If they don't work, then a picture will be taken of you. When that was taken, the system itself will match the one that was captured.
Which is why that new system, it doesn't just take the fingerprints. It can also take pictures.
Exactly.
And then reconcile your image with what is
exactly. So when the system matches the two, then to say that you are the person. So the new one comes in to avoid the issue of not being verified because you are fingerprinted.
So that issue, for example, I think it was at the district level elections where twins were voting and their fingerprints, they were facing problems and all of that. In election 2024, will not have such problems.
Not at all.
Because then it will even be able to distinguish between identical twins.
Exactly.
And note the differences.
You see, when you look at me, the Okura view, you may think that we are the same. But when the machine is doing it, the machine has a way of. But the first to start with the fingerprint. And nature has done such a way that two people don't have the same fingerprint. So whether you are twins, whatever, the system will find you out.
All right. Let's talk about some of the challenges raised. The physique of some of these people registered. This always comes up. And then the fact that some of them are not within the electoral.
I'm happy he said that they will go through the challenge process. So like I started by saying, we don't use physical strength or to brawn to stop people from voting. But physique issue, I'm not there and I wouldn't be able to judge how the physique is talking of are the same. But the most important thing is that they should be allowed to go through the processes and they challenge them. When they appear before the committee, they will provide evidence to show whether they are qualified or not. So that's what I would say. Because at times, somebody may be 13 years. If you don't take care, you think the person is 18. And somebody to maybe 20 years. If you look at the person, you think the person is. So it's difficult at times to use physique only to draw conclusions.
How quickly, when you get these challenges, let's say at the conclusion of this process on the 27th, how quickly can you go through the challenges, do your verification, whittle away those who are not meant to be there and retain those who...
The process is that once you are challenged, you go through the registration, but your card will not be given to you.
Right.
It's only when you have gone through the adjudication process. So as we have started, I believe after the 1 week, the committee will start sitting.
1 week after?
We are using 21 days.
Right.
So 7 days after we started registration, they will start the sitting. So while the registration is going on...
Oh, okay. That's what I wanted to clarify. So if someone gets challenged today, even while the process is going on, within 1 week, you should resolve it and then give the person's card or maintain that the person can't register.
That's right.
Let's quickly cross over to Sowutuom. My colleague, Sweetie Abochi, is standing by to share with us what is happening there.
We are on grounds at the Anya Sowutuom constituency, specifically in the heart of the Sowutuom township, for the limited voter registration, which is expected to onboard over 600,000 new registered voters onto the already existing database of the Electoral Commission. Now here, although the district electoral officer, Nanesi Yabua Dazi, says that they've not been cleared to speak to us on record, we've gathered that the exercise or the process started around 7 a.m. and they have not yet finished with one participant to leave because of something they call technical hitches. From what we gather so far, it appears there's some portal that needs to be connected from the head office that has not yet been greenlit. And for that reason, they're waiting for that to be done before they can actually start laminating the cards or capturing the biometric details of the participants. But from my observation here, there are lots of first-time registered voters here, very young people, and the issue of busing people to this place from the various political parties have come up. We've observed some 10 or 15 people put in from a truck to come and register. And when we spoke to the agents from the various political parties, one of them mentioned that the Electoral Commission had not done enough sensitization work. And so they took it upon themselves to go out and mobilize these young people for them to partake in this national important exercise. I'll be joined shortly by one of the agents for the National Democratic Congress, Gafaru. Yes. Gafaru, you were telling me earlier that the reason you are mobilizing people to come and register and partake in this exercise is because the EC had not sensitized the people enough. Can you shed more light on that?
Yes, good morning to your channel viewers. I said that earlier because we have realized through our work in our communities that there are some of these young ones who are not even aware that today being 7th of May, there's anything called registration or limited registration. So we took it upon ourselves to get them engaged at their various community centers from house to house to educate them and let them know or create the awareness that indeed the EC is starting to register for the young ones who are 18 and 19 years. So some of them do not even know what it takes or the person needs to even come to the center to get registered. So what we are saying is, as far as we are concerned, the EC as well as the NCCA, National Commission for Civic Education, have actually failed Ghanaians in totality because the sensitization is very low. What they need to do to increase the awareness of this exercise is not being done. Meanwhile,
right. Are you compensating these people you're mobilizing in any way? Are you giving them money or any kind of incentive to come and register?
Oh, actually, all we are doing is to help them to the centers, but then we are not compensating them in any form of money or whatever. That is not something we can do. It is beyond our ability. So we are not giving anybody anything. All we are doing is to get them abreast with the information and also help them to the centers to get registered.
Thank you, Kafaru. I'll be joined shortly by an agent also from the New Patriotic Party. But from what I gather so far, these young registered voters who are now coming to get registered have to produce some sort of national identification card, either the Ghana card, national health insurance, and in the absence of one, they have to produce 2 guarantors. Now, although the polling officers are not speaking to us directly on camera, from what I gather from right behind me here, I'm told that if you bring these 2 guarantors can guarantee for at least 10 people. So there are 10 people who do not have any sort of national identification. They can get 2 people, either from the party or whoever brought them, to sort of authenticate their national identity so that they can continue with the process. In a bit, I'll be joined by the representative from the New Patriotic Party. Please join me. Thank you for speaking to us. What's the name?
My name is Albert.
Albert, I've seen that agents from the various political parties, mainly the NDC and the MPP, are pulling people in to come and partake in this exercise. Is this constitutional? Are you compensating these young ones in any way? And who's paying for the transportation?
All right, thanks for that. I can't speak on behalf of our opponent, that is the NDC. But regards to the MPP, we have our own arrangements and structures that we have put in place long ago. I cannot say much about busing people to
Well, we saw that some people just were brought in a pickup to just come and register.
That pickup hasn't got anything to do with MPP or whatever, what have you. So I can't say that that is an MPP thing. But we have a motivation, motivation that helps us to go. That has to do with our performance in government. Looking at our performance in government and what we have done in this constituency in the past 7 years, it is a motivation for young ones, especially those 18 years, to register and say thank you to Nana Addo.
Are you saying that the young ones are coming by themselves without any sort of assistance from the New Patriotic Party?
That is absolutely right. We are not engaged in busing them to the constituency.
You don't necessarily have to call it busing, just assisting them, like the NDC agent said, assisting them to get here.
The only assistance we can give to them is to give them direction to the place. Apart from that, we have our own motivation, and that is the performance in government. Looking at this free SHS, looking at our performance in this constituency, looking at what we have done, the development that we have brought into the...
Thank you so much. This is about the limited voter registration exercise, so let's keep it at that. Well, there you have it. We'll be here monitoring and we'll bring you updates as to when the final parts of the process starts, that is the capturing of the biometric details and then the lamination, when this technical hitch they're talking about is resolved. But for now, everything seems smooth and ongoing. There are presence of security officials who are ensuring that there's peace here and there's no chaos here yet. So from Anya Soto, my name is Sweetie Abochi for Joy News. Over to you.
My colleague Sweetie Abochi there, thank you very much for connecting, bringing us the scoop into Utum. So quick issues, Dr. Sribo, I want us to address in about 5 minutes before we wrap this conversation. Technical hitches there, lamination and all of that, so people are not getting their cards. When this happens, how do you address it?
I don't know the hitch he's talking about, because all the district offices have been linked to the system. But where I am looking at now, I don't think they are within the office. So if they want to use office, we are also using TableNet from the, I don't want to mention the...
So the telco?
Yes, telco. So I don't know whether they are using the TableNet outside the district office. In that case, that could be...
But what is the directive that you gave them in terms of the internet provider and the directions, what they have to do?
Because we are depending on the number of kits they are using.
Right.
We are expecting that the maximum at this office is 3 and the minimum is 2.
Right.
They are all linked to the system. But if the place becomes congested, they may decide, okay, let's move 1 or 2 to this place and use the TableNet. So I don't know, unless I finish and I will call and I will get the story. But whatever the challenge is, it will be addressed.
I've got some messages where people are saying that, listen, there was not enough. And I heard the NDC, one of them re-echo it, so I want to put it to you, that there was not enough sensitization of those 18-year-olds. I've seen a few things, a few. Okay, I don't get to.
Few is relative.
I've seen a few
relative
where I listened to one on radio, and I think once as well or twice on television. How much has been done to sensitize those turning 18-year-olds to go and get registered?
I believe your station is running some advert. So if it's few, then you are also not being fair to us, because we have given you advert to.
I am only telling you what I, as an individual, I'm constantly on the move.
So that's you are working with this institution, and I believe you have been hired to help us to do that. So automatically, for every exercise, at the initial stage, you may encounter 1 or 2 problems. That's why it's 21 days. So whatever the challenges are, I believe that they should be rectified within the next 3 days so that you can have smooth sailing.
This is you busing people to get registered and all of that. When we went to Kumasi, I think one of them mentioned it. Here in Soweto too, it's been mentioned. Is it technically wrong? What are the protocols?
You see, there's no law about busing. There's no law. Me sitting here, my judgment would be that if the people are qualified, and now that we are doing at the district offices, I'm a political party, I'm supposed to help my community to come to the center. If the people are 18 years and they are Ghanaians, to me, I don't have any issue. It's only when they are busing and the age people that becomes a problem. Because facilitating somebody movement to the center to go and register, I don't think that should be any issue. But the people should be qualified people.
Right. Do this for me in 1 minute. I'm just going to end on this. We saw what happened in Ejiso. I know you gave a response then and all of that. Those election officers involved, what mechanisms are you putting in place to forestall that happening in election 2024? And what more can we expect in respect of those officers?
If you look at Ejiso, we had 204 centers. There's only one activity that happened at one place. And people are talking
It's only one that we captured.
Oh, so that's what we know.
Only one.
The name of the game is evidence.
Whatever may have happened,
No, you don't have evidence that something happened.
It is one that we
I agree, but you don't have evidence that something happened.
Wow.
So whatever it is, we have the system in place that when you go to the center, don't accept any form of support from anybody, because you may not know who is giving you that and the motive behind it. That is.
But are you going to change your formula where it's a package that what you give them includes food and everything in there? Because obviously now food is being being used as bait.
Okay,
are you going to change your...
Let me ask you. Are you saying that if they were giving food, somebody cannot give them something?
Well.
This is the point. So the issue is not being...
But at least maybe it would prevent it to a certain extent.
Giving them food or not will not stop somebody trying to give them something or somebody are trying to receive something. The most important thing is that our instruction to them is that they should not accept any form of gift in the line of action.
All right. Dr. Srebo Kweku, thank you so much for doing us the honors this morning. We greatly appreciate your time. Dr. Srebo Kweku is Director of Electoral Services with the Electoral Commission, and he joined us. We also went to the Ashanti region, the Regional Registration Center or Regional Office of the EC in Kumasi, and we also took you to Sowutuom. We'll be right back with more action right here on the AM show. Do stay. Welcome back on the AM show. You know your health is your wealth. I don't need to remind you of that. And that's why today we're having a conversation with the Koru Health Group. They have some fantastic stuff all the way from Turkey down here in Ghana. And they're going to be sharing with us their expertise when it comes to robotic surgery, among others. Well, joining the conversation, we have Sevim Kaya, who's in the studio, together with Ben Azir Begum Modi, who also joins, Moradi, right?
Moradi.
Moradi, all right, who also joins the conversation. Thank you very much, ladies, for joining us. I think, of course, the first question I'm going to ask, what is the Koru Group? I'll start with you.
Thanks you for having us, first of all. As you have mentioned, we are coming from Turkey. We are Koru, we are here on the behalf of Koru Health Group. Our hospital is located in Ankara. It's a GCI accredited hospital with 300 bed capacity. I can say we have all the departments such as urology, gynecology, hematology, oncology, I can say nuclear medicine, etc.
So you're dealing with practically everything, every aspect of health.
Exactly, we do, yeah.
I see. And what makes the Koru Health Group stand out as far as what you do is concerned? What makes you stand out?
As Koru Hospitals, we are a diagnosis and treatment center with the state-of-the-art technological equipments. You know, in the past, when we get diagnosed with a disease, we used to look for the best physician in order to get cured. However, nowadays it has changed. Now we are looking for the best, the latest technology in healthcare. Because also the physicians, of course, in addition to the technology, who have enough experience in using this technological equipment. I can say this with pride that as Koru Health Group, we provide our services to our patients with a great combination of the technological equipment, latest technological equipment, and the physicians with academic background and experience.
Interesting. But as yeah, so we've already started talking about some of the important things that you deliver, but what sets your group, your hospitals, apart from other hospitals? What is that peculiar bit you deliver?
Now, as a Koru Health Group, we have very advanced technological equipment because technology is not only important for the treatment, but also crucial for the diagnosis, because you must have a good diagnosis so that we can have a good treatment. As the Koru Group, especially in the field of oncology and hematology, we use a PET-CT scan, which is very important to find the mass so that we can give the specific treatment. Also in prostate cancer, we use a gallium PET-CT for the diagnosis stage. Also, there's our latest technology, which is the fusion biopsy, which is, the fusion biopsy, it's a combination of MRI and ultrasound so that we can find the specific mass and take the biopsy from it. And it is a very advanced technology because with the other method, there are the masses of the early stage that cannot be spotted with the other method. Also, we have the Da Vinci robotic surgery that we use in our hospital, especially in prostate cancer, and also
I see.
prostate cancer and also abdominal surgeries. And with the latest, obesity is increasing in all population, and the bariatric surgery is getting more and more common. So we use a robotic Da Vinci robotic surgery to do this. What are the advantages of the Da Vinci robotic surgery? The recovery stage is very rapid, and also there are less complication, post-surgery complication. Also, there are other methods that we use, which is gamma knife, like for very small brain masses that we use a gamma knife. You don't need surgery to treat them with some 2 or 3 gamma knife stage. We can treat them. Also, we have, as Madam Sevim said, we have a great surgery team in all aspects that we can assist our patient, neurosurgery, orthopedy, urology, even pediatric surgery we have in our hospital, so that we can provide a great variety of treatment and also with the latest technology.
Right. That's very interesting. Let me come to Sevim. So she's already talking about the fact that you're using state-of-the-art technology, and it's interesting that for some cases of cancer and others, you may not spot them easily at the initial stages. So your technology allows for a bit more of that, which means you can save more lives. But are your patients predominantly from Turkey? Are you reaching out? Tell us about that.
Actually not. We receive patients from all around the world, I can say, especially from African continent, including Europe and Middle East, basically. And for the last, I can say for the last 15 years, it has increased that we receive patients from outside of Turkey.
I see. So then in Ghana, I know you are launching a program that you are starting. Tell us about that. And there's also a linguistic barrier in there. How are you addressing that challenge?
Okay. As like an international patient department service, we have a team of 15 people, and who's our native speakers in English, Russian, Arabic, or Somali language, etc. Therefore, we try to make the patients, feel them home. Our international patient services specialists, they assist the patients during their journey in our hospital. Actually, even before their arrival to our hospital, they ask us for the second opinion. We help them for booking the hotels, organizing the transportation, etc. Because we empathize with our patients. We know that they come far from their, they come for treatment, far from their countries, from their loved ones. Therefore, we try our best to smooth the process for them and make them feel home.
I see. Any final words in terms of what we can expect this week?
As you say, sir, health is wealth. So we must invest in our health, we must care for ourselves, have regular exercise, and eat well also. We will be here for 3 days. Maybe Madam Sevim
we are
help here.
Yes, we are here for 3 days for the exhibition. We will be in Accra International Conference Center on 8th, 9th, and 10th of May. Also, besides the exhibition, we as Koru Health Group, we are ready to answer your question about your health issues. So feel free to get in contact with us for second opinion and ask your questions, please, through our website, our social media accounts. Also from the WhatsApp, you can directly get in contact with us.
All right. Thank you, ladies, for having joined us for this conversation. Those who joined us, Sevim Kaya, was there something you wanted to say?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for inviting us.
It's been a pleasure having you. Sevim Kaya is Assistant Director, Koru Health Group, and we also have Benazir Begum Moradi. Did I get it right this time? All right. She's a specialist doctor. Both of them joined the conversation. But stay with us. Up next, we have a conversation with the NPP's, parliamentary candidate for Esikado Ketan. I'm talking about none other than Charles Bissue. He joins the conversation up next. We'll be right back. Welcome back on the AM show. As promised, we are delivering this morning, and we have joining us in the studio. Well, he's been a part of that Galamsey watchdog in the past, but currently he's in the fray, hoping to become the Member of Parliament for Esikado Ketan. He's in the person of Charles Bissue. Joins me in the studio this morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Wherever you got your blazer from, you may have to investigate. I may need to. But good to have you join.
Thank you.
Let's talk about your constituency, where you've got the nod from the MPP, Esikado Ketan. What are the latest happenings there? This constituency has its own dynamics. What is happening in Esikado Ketan?
Okay, good morning, my brother, and good morning to your listeners. Yeah, Esikado Ketan actually was carved out of the Sekendi and Kwesimintim, it was then Efia Kwesimintim constituencies. But currently it is the biggest constituency in the metropolis. It has a population of about 140,000 people. About 51% are women. And then it also has a lot of industries. After CHRAJ, you know, CHRAJ has the harbour and stuff like that. But Esikado Ketan holds the Free Zones Board, Esipon Stadium. So there's a lot happening. It's a rural-urban community. The voting populace there is about 71,000. And I'm hoping that after this limited registration exercise, we're going to increase it to maybe, we have our targets, but we just wait and see.
What is your target?
I wouldn't say it here because...
why not?
No, there are certain things that are internal, you know, because the target, if I say the target, I have a target, then...
You have a personal target?
Yes, I do. But then if I come out to say, then it means that I'm the EC. EC has its target. I know there's about 600,000 across the country. By the last elections, I believe Esikado Ketan registered more than any constituency in the region. You understand? So I will stick to the EC's, what the EC is doing. We don't have to interfere in what they're doing. But as a political party, we are beneficiaries to that. My goal is that following the registration exercise, I go out there to preach what my party has done, articulate it well, where we've actually gone wrong, state it, because I believe that the Ghanaian populace are discerning now. Gone were the days where...
They're discerning now?
Very.
They've not been discerning before?
No. If I say discerning, it's not like they weren't knowledgeable, but the access to information. You know, formally, globalization has made the world a global village where at the fingertips you can get information instantaneously. Hitherto, getting information was difficult. For example, if I have to send information to somebody, I have to drive to the lorry station at Kaneshi, pass on a letter to somebody, you know what I mean? But today, you can actually grab information instantaneously. So if I say that, then it means that people are knowledgeable now that the things that we say can be verified. And then they can actually make an informed decision on that. So if you're going to speak to people pertaining to what is transpiring in the country, then you must be upright with them, tell them where you've gone wrong, where you've gone right, and what can be done about it. Then you're having a conversation. And then also, the whole thing about this 2024 elections, it's about breaking the 8, isn't it? But then no political party has done that. We've always said that, the psychology of the Ghanaian voter is that every 8 years we have to change power, which is good because my friends from the diaspora, other African countries say that Ghana's democracy has deepened. This is the only country that we actually change governments and all that without hindrance.
But you know that merely is not democracy. That there's way more to it than just handing over peacefully in elections. You are fully aware of that.
What do you mean by that?
The mere fact that you roll over from one administration to the next over a period of 8 years, that in itself is not what cements a democracy. There are governance processes, good governance processes, rule of law, the fight against corruption, the fact that jobs are, all those things.
Transparency, the United Nations characteristics.
So in other words, human security versus or vis-a-vis national security perspective. Okay. That's basically what I'm saying.
So are you referring to the United Nations characteristics of good transparency and all that?
Not necessarily the United Nations, but even the newer developments in what it means to have a good economy, to experience good governance.
Good governance, it's all part of that, those characteristics. I think there's 7 or 17 of them. which every government has to take. But they are looking at handing over peacefully. So that's subjective. Somebody will say and look at all those characteristics and tick the boxes. Maybe probably it is in the Western world where we actually got democracy from. You know, we got it from there, replicating it here, but does it pertain to our dynamics? No, I don't think so. So we're evolving.
Right.
So through evolution, we do things abreast to time. So the American system, the British system and all that, they're there. They're an established one. That fits the citizenry. But we've probably replicated it wrongly. So I think that we have to evolve.
You think we've replicated democracy or that practice wrongly, and we need to streamline it contextually?
Yes, because if you, for example, if you go to America, they don't have the monarchy. They don't have the chieftaincy institution. We had the chieftaincy institution, and then democracy was actually brought to us. So you have to marry the two. Their constitution, Article 270 to 277, has been given to the chiefs. So the roles are demarcated, but fusing or marrying them together sometimes gives us problems. You know what I mean? As opposed to the United Kingdom, where they have the monarchy, the king being the head of state, and it works for them because they replicated it pertaining to their culture and norms. Our customary law doesn't allow certain things, but then the constitution has been brought to us. You know what I mean? Democracy has been brought to us. So we need to, but we are evolving. So as we go along, because certain laws were passed in 1900, and then they updated, repealed, and then moved forward. That's what I'm saying. So as a people, we're going forward. So I'm concluding on that by saying that if I'm going to go for vote, I'm not going to tell the person, lie to the person. Where there are difficulties, you need to tell the person and explain it to the person.
Which brings me to a crucial point, because the belief on the streets is that all politicians are by and large liars. And in contesting for the Esikado Ketansi, are you saying that you were above the board, honest in everything that you said? Because parliamentarians, those gunning for those positions, usually start by lying. Okay. I'll put up this road, and parliamentarians don't build roads. I'll do this, I'll do that. You start by lying.
Okay, so you see, saying politicians are liars, I disagree. Each and everyone.
I said that on the streets.
On the streets,
that is the perception.
So the official's bystander. Okay, so the official's bystander might be wrong, because you see, everyone comes from an individual home. We're brought up differently, and then we come into the world of politics, where you're nurtured from your school and all that, and then people get into politics, and then without experience and all that, they do certain things. They think that politics is like that. But you need to be consistent. In the same realm, you go to the pastors, they're fake pastors. They're fake bank managers, you understand?
But it appears in politics there are a lot more of the
because politics is in the wider space.
I see.
You understand? But we have I've heard of stories where a pastor has gone to exhume skeletons and then planted it in front of somebody's church so that they will destroy the church. That's a human being. So I look at the person as a human being rather than a politician. But in totality, because the state's resources has been entrusted to the politician, so you have to guard it well.
Which brings to mind, just yesterday I was having a conversation with a member of parliament.
Okay.
And the member of parliament was lamenting to me openly, in confidence, that, and of course I can't mention the person's name, but that, look, sometimes you are in party X, right? But you disagree with the positioning of the party on this or that. You can't express that disagreement. You'll be whipped in line. And if you don't fall in line, you know what awaits you. Consequences when you go for your next primary. You will be sabotaged. And I've had countless members of parliament tell me that because I was in disagreement on this and that. Look, even when some members of parliament were railing against the president on some things, they had palpable fears that there would be consequences. And if you look at the last primaries, there were consequences for some of them. So in other words, you want to become a member of parliament. You are setting yourself up to not be able to exercise your conscience. You are setting yourself up to lie, so to speak.
Okay. So you see, I'll come back to the first question where he said we have to lie to make a weight and then gain the votes of the populace. But, in the church, where there's an issue of adultery, the pastors do not come out and say openly that this person is an adulterous person, do they? Because we're building a society, it is dealt with at the back end, you understand? And people are forgiven and all that. But however, in politics, there are laws. The state resources have been bequeathed to you. to actually take care of it. So you have a higher responsibility. Now, within the government, when the e-levy was introduced, I was for it, but I wasn't for the amount that we were charging.
Percentage.
Yes, I wanted us to maybe 50 per 1 cedi or something. I've forgotten about it. But I'm a communicator for the party. I came out there and said, no,
Later it was brought down to 1%.
Exactly. So I thought that it could be progressive, maybe 50 pesos, and then you increase it gradually so that it doesn't have a telling effect on the Ghanaian. So that was my point. But then the government wants it. So we went out there and we did it. It doesn't mean that I have to go out there and chastise my government. You understand? Yes. But there are ways of doing it. That's why I use the church as an example. Now, why am I in politics? If I'm going out there to lie to people, I have my children, my family, and all that. For example, I'm related to Sechi Hughes. Okay. He's my uncle, my great uncle. I'm related to Koshiga, Pa Grant, and all that. The things that they've done in the past has actually paved way for me.
It's reflected on you.
Exactly.
And the things you are doing will also reflect.
Exactly. So it's a generational thing. So there's a lot on me to actually ensure that I leave a good name. There are ways people go into politics for 3 things that I know of. 1, to make money. The others, to impact on society. And the others, for people to serve them. It happens in our society. I am for going to serve, you understand, to make a name as well. Yes, when you become a member of parliament, you'll be privileged. You understand? There are certain privileges that will come to you that you cannot deny it. Nobody will get out there and say that I'm serving and there will not be a privilege, even though you get paid. I mean, maybe the salary is not enough. But I'm not talking about privileges in terms of money and stuff like that. The state has put you there. So what do? You serve as it is, you understand? Okay. If you go out there with the premise of making money and other things, then you're exposed. That is when you meet the delegates, then you have to lie to them to ensure that you garner it. And we've had situations where people have won, become a member of parliament, and they don't sit in parliament. During the day, they have to go look for money, business and all that to actually satisfy other people.
And that's where you're headed, because you have to satisfy, you have to placate the different constituents.
Let me give you
There are those who will come for you. I even heard this hilarious one where someone was putting up a building and came to the MPO foundation,
coffin and all that.
School fees and funerals and health.
Coffin. You buy coffin and all that.
You buy coffin.
People do that. So you see.
Have you had to buy anything yet?
If the person is related to me and they're struggling, I will support you. You understand? If I have it. But what I'm trying to say that we as leaders, we need to educate the people as well. You see, most of the psychology, you see the Ghanaian politics, that's why I'm saying that we replicated democracy. In the past, when we used to campaign with Nivea and all that, the ladders and all that. Imagine a pupil teacher within a community when he was a local person with us. Right. And then within a twinkle of an eye, there's democracy. And the next day he's a member of parliament. And then you've given them a Land Cruiser and all that. And the neighbors know how the humble beginnings that the person has. And then all of a sudden the person has become pompous and all that. Then they think that, yes, there's some money somewhere, you understand? So they start demanding, and it puts pressure on you. And you need to sustain where you are, because you never want to go down again. You know what I mean? So what happens? Then you have to use other routes to actually make money, you understand? But if you believe in what you're doing and you're consistent, you must find ways of actually managing those things.
So tell me, very briefly, because I want to manage time so that we can do as much as possible. You have heard of the reports in the past, if you want to become a president in Ghana, you need $100 million plus. If you want to become an MP, you need so many millions of cedis. You must have a war. Oh, these are reports that we've had from distinguished, reputable groups, across the world on Ghana, right? So you must have a war chest with quite a bit of money, because you want to go toe to toe with other parties, including the NDC, for the Esikado Ketan seat. Okay,
so let me tell you this. I would define what you've said as being resourceful. You understand?
Being resourceful.
Resourceful, yes. Because if you can have $100 million in your room and it gets into the political terrain, one person can actually drain you of that cash and you will not win power. But being resourceful, for me, my definition is that having an available human resource, knowing that person that sells pure water, knowing that person that has a venue, you understand? So all these coming together, these are human beings bringing their resources to you, and the human resource as well. So by putting that in, you have the human resource as well, and that we counted into votes. So I don't believe you having a stash of cash.
So it's not about money?
No, because somebody will come and sponsor.
Because our politics, even those on the ground, some of them will tell you, it's about money. If you don't pay, I'm not voting.
No,
I've heard delegates say that.
Yes, people have said it. I remember in 2010, I went for primaries in Nahanta West because my dad is a Nahanta. And then I said, I'm not going to take my salary as a member of parliament, which I've said. Okay. Then this person said, at the time, I think the MPs were being paid 7,000 cedis. Well, and then I think they had 630 delegates. And then whilst I was talking, the guy calculated it. And he said, so 4 years in parliament, this is how much, I think 1,500 cedis or so. And he said, I want my money now. And I said, why? He said, I don't trust you politicians, so I'm going to take my money now and vote for you. You know what I mean? So that's the trust bit. I've been consistent. Go into it, I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use that money as a welfare system for the delegates of the party. The common fund and all that, which is not huge, takes care of the larger populace, you understand? But for the party people, for you to curb these things, you need to have certain welfare things for them. That would actually put them certain things to rest.
And your consolidated fund money, sometimes it will delay, and even when it comes, it will not be enough. It's very small, so how are you going to manage?
Okay, so you see, you need to be innovative, you understand? For example, I've got students...
I guess you're going to tell me again that you need to be resourceful.
No, innovation, for me, the private sector is the engine of growth. And I combine business with politics, you understand? So, for example, I was a regional secretary for 8 years. Right, I managed my own affairs. I wasn't paid for 8 years, but I was able to take care of a lot of people in the region. For example, passports. I did it free of charge for over 700 people, you understand? So you have to have your businesses and all that so that you can do this
free for 800 people?
Yes, I did. They won't be up to it because...
You're not a passport agent. So
no, I paid for them. You know when they do the... when we went digital, you filled out on the system and all that, and then I paid for
these people.
I think it was 50 cedis then. Right. You understand? But 8 years I wasn't paid, but I managed to do certain... There were other things that I did for certain people. You see, so it's not actually...
So 50 cedis for 800 people, that's about 40,000 cedis, right? Let me
yes. But I've done other things like buying desks for school children and all that to sit on. And then I remember when I was doing it, somebody said, we have to put your name on it.
Yeah,
and I
40,000.
said, yes. And then another time I spent about 100,000 buying desks for school children. And then somebody said he was going to put my name on it. And I said, I don't want to do that.
So all of this out of pocket? You've been doing this
yes.
As a way of supporting your community?
Exactly.
But let me quickly get to this. And that's amazing stuff you're doing. We all ought to chip in. But members of parliament, right, even before I get there, you spoke about right or wrong.
Yeah.
The fact that as a leader, you must admit, I mean, when you've done the right thing, yes, but when you do the wrong thing, you must be able to admit it, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Why is your party then not admitting some of the basic difficulties we're facing as a country? Take Dumso, for example. The slap in the face of, oh, there's no Dumso, it is Dumsiesi. Oh, if you want a load shedding timetable, then you are wishing evil upon the land. I'm sure you've heard of who said that. The Energy Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. The talk on May Day, just a few days ago, May the 1st, Workers' Day, Dumso has ended, according to President Akufo-Addo.
Yeah.
Just a few days ago, I had it. People in different places. Why is it so difficult for the MPP, your party, to admit that things are not the best and to admit in some situations like Dumso that there is Dumso?
So
what is the difficulty?
You've used Dumso as an example. I haven't heard...
I could say so many things.
Yes.
Let's stay with
So I haven't heard anybody saying everything's rosy in this country. You remember when we used to say...
No, but that's not the question. Is there Dumso or not?
So I'm giving a preamble before I answer the question, you see. Because so when we started, people mentioned COVID and then Ukraine. And then some of your colleagues are saying that we shouldn't mention, but it's a fact. 2 weeks ago...
It's a fact for all other countries in the world.
Exactly. In the UK, there was recession. Last week, the British Prime Minister said the economy has been affected by COVID and the Ukraine and the Russia war. That's fine. So everything is not rosy in this country. There are difficulties. If the president says that Dumso has ended, it means that things are being done.
Let's be clear. When the president said, he said that as of that day, there was no Dumso anywhere.
Okay.
In fact, while he was speaking, there was doomsday in some places. The very next day, there was doomsday, and it has continued till now. So Herbert Krapper, the ECG boss, not the ECG boss, the board chair, had said that, within a few days, it would be over. This was before Mr. President spoke. So it's been more than 10 days since.
So after that, has it been nationwide? Has the doomsday been? Because I remember about a month ago, there was total black.
In Eastern, in Central, in
but there are pockets.
Accra, so I don't know what you mean by nationwide. Up north, people are still complaining.
Yes, and even in Accra, some areas there were. I mean, the lights were out. But I'm saying that things have been worked on. You understand? And these are pockets of them. It's not nationwide because a month ago or so, we can hear that the whole of CHRAJ was down. You understand? Then there was a problem. And then the president came out and said that no exportation of energy to the neighboring countries because we used to sell. So I think that's leadership because
which I do not agree with, but it has.
No, but then if you have energy crisis in your own country and then
whatever happened to excess energy, excess supply?
So if you allow me to finish with this, because something has to be done about it, and he comes out to say that yes, we're in crisis, so we're not going to export outside of this country. Let's conserve what we have to deal with the problem before we start exporting. That's leadership for me.
You know the consequences of that, right?
No.
You don't?
No.
Okay, so first off, you're looking at the likes of Burkina Faso and others, which have now had to say, in fact, they are facing a crisis of their own because of our shortages. And so they are saying, okay, we have to find alternative means. Do you know what that means? They find other suppliers. Eventually, they leave you, and what you are getting from them, you lose that market. Nigeria, for example, is getting ready to supply to some of these other entities. It means you lose some of the hard currency.
So so that's opportunity cost. So would you rather have your citizenry suffer than to please other people?
It's not
about so the consequence
balance. But in finding that balance, where have the failures been such that you cannot meet the megawatt requirements of your country? Because mind you, throughout this Fourth Republic, as far back as Rawlings, we've been supplying to some of these.
You know what I would do?
As a manager. It's not like a novelty that we started from.
So I get you. As a manager, if something like that happened, and I think that's what the president has done, I would ensure that whatever I have in my country is conserved. And then there's competition out there. You're saying Nigeria, and then other countries want to supply to them. When I'm coming back to have supply energy, I would actually try and penetrate again by reducing prices so that they take mine and then later on increase.
Do you know the problem with that analysis?
What's the problem?
I hear from what we are taking from them, partly because our power seems to be more stable, at least historically. They pay a steep price. The price differential is about 1 to 4. The Nigerians are offering it to them about a quarter of what they are paying now. I know that.
Yes.
So which means you're probably not going to be able to apply that because a factor of 1 is to 4. Yeah. You can't possibly.
But bro,
know what Nigeria is.
Okay, but this with this conversation, do we even know the contract between us and them? As when we're in crisis, what happens and all that? You know, so it becomes a problem of a privity of contracts. You understand? So the two of us haven't seen that. You understand? But I am saying that in times of crisis, the president comes out to say that we're not going to export. For example, if there's a pandemic and we have vaccines, and you say we supply vaccines to other countries, and your people are died, are you going to say because there's going to be consequences thereafter?
So that is not what I'm saying. I'm saying the balance in there and losing the market completely. That is something we ought to keep an eye on.
We need to look at that.
This is based on intel we've got from Burkina Faso and other countries that we supply to. So if you lose it totally, then what I mean.
But I'm sure that's not going to happen. The president will look at that.
But let's also look at a point. And I noted some of the things you said, right and wrong. That's why I posed the question of being honest and facing it when you failed somewhere, or at least you've not met expectations.
Yes, but by coming out to say that, yes, we're dealing with it, don't let it go out there, let's conserve it here. It's actually saying that there's a challenge.
It's only on May Day that I actually heard the president use doomsday. But even then, it wasn't so fixated on now. But everybody in Ghana knows what.
But you're playing with words.
Let's make track. You also said, I am for going to serve, right?
Yes.
You have served before on the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, and then everything from Professor Boateng to now the OSP. What's the latest as far as the special prosecutor and his dealings with you are concerned?
So I wouldn't delve into what is in court already, but I took the special prosecutor to court, you understand? First of all, whatever happened wasn't true, you understand?
Wasn't true?
No.
What wasn't true?
The video, you know. Anas coming in to do that video, I think I've always said it time and time again that I'm going to delve into the matter until...
Which video are you referencing? The one you were in?
Yes.
Or that was not you?
Oh, come on. That was me, you understand?
Right.
But you can sit here and take videos and actually put them together, and you understand, and project it to be yours. We're in court. We're going to look into all of that. I don't want to actually delve into it, but the police exonerated me. The special prosecutor, who is a friend of Anas, they own the same law firm, you understand? So
the special prosecutor is a friend of Anas, and so you are drawing linkages that they are cooking something against you? Is that what you're insinuating?
I respect the office of the special prosecutor, okay? It's a creation of our laws, you understand? But I would not sit in this country as a citizen for people to use offices, you understand? Or positions that are given to them to suppress others. That is not going to happen.
Do you know what you're suggesting?
No.
You're suggesting that our ombudsman, well, in this case, a special prosecutor, is somehow in cahoots or conniving with someone who has beef against you, someone who put out an expose against you, and for that reason, they are coming after you.
You can explain it in that matter.
Okay, so clarify for me. Is that what you're saying?
No, you want a headline from me. You'll not get one. So let's carry on.
It's not a headline. It's about the opportunity of clarifying.
And
is that what you're saying?
So if you allow me...
You've literally said it. You've virtually said it.
No. If you allow me to flow,
right,
then you get actually the gist of what I'm trying to say. I'm saying that I will not sit in this country for people to use offices and all that to suppress people's rights. Okay. Number two, the video that was seen out there, was something that was put together. And all this would be, yes, you understand, nobody took bribes. In that office, they do not issue licenses. So first of all, you must understand what happens there before you go out to do that video. Whoever was behind it and all that, you understand, we know.
But what happens there? What happens
in the office?
Know what happens
okay,
there.
So the Interministerial Committee was an amalgamation of ministries. We have the Minerals Commission, which is under Lands Ministry, EPA, and all that. Okay. So when in the manifesto, the president stated that he's going to restructure the artisanal and small-scale mining sector. You understand? And so all these ministries were put together, and the various agencies that are connected to mining, EPA, Water Resources Commission, and all that. And then we did a vetting of all licenses, because hitherto, one license owns about 5 concessions, and there was bureaucracy here and there. So our job was to actually clean up the system. Now, we came up with something called Galam Stop, which is a system which actually is like a one-stop shop where application processes and all that. So we see who is delaying the process so that monies are not paid. The law says that I think the application process, 3 months at the Minerals Commission, or 3 months and then 6 months at the ministry. So the laws actually, spelling these out. We came out with a sticker, you understand, that once everything has gone through, there's a sticker that you scan and it gives you everything that encompasses your license. Then somebody comes there, trying to do their own thing, saying that they've paid money. Who in this country, would take bribes and ask you to go and pay money and then take receipts? That video was put together. Eventually, we're good.
It was fabricated.
Yes. And Anas is a liar. I'm telling you, I'll say it 100 times. I am saying, I'm looking into your eyes, he's a liar, and I'll expose that.
But the matter you say is in court, so why are you attacking his person
because
now
that's
when the court...
I'm not delving into what is in court. I'm delving into what he has done. You understand? They've done it to so many people in this country, and I will ensure that that does not happen.
Do you think, though, with everything going on with the special prosecutor inviting you, that, he shouldn't invite me, restrain him, and everything in between, do you think it's putting a dent on your chances of becoming the member?
No. I think it's actually unearthing the truth about what's been happening in this country. You understand? It's unearthing the truth, and a lot more will come out. We're in court, we'll finish with it, and then Ghanaians will know the truth, who is lying and who's not. And on all I'm saying that, in this country, where somebody's, for example, a police officer, chief inspector, and you don't like somebody, and then Friday you report to the person that the person has threatened to kill me. And then they arrest the person, put the person in cells over the weekend, and Monday he's released. Then you've dented that person. So all these things should be a thing of the past.
But you know what's interesting? You say it was work put together, all of you, including the Ministry for Environment, which at the time was headed by Professor Frimpong Boateng, remember? And his reports and all of that seemed to suggest that some of these things were indeed...
But he never mentioned my name in the report.
With corruption.
But he never mentioned my name.
But he does mention the Interministerial Committee and others.
But I'm saying that I was a secretary.
Right.
Prof never mentioned my name, did he? No, you can't. There's nothing, no.
But your outfit was mentioned.
Yeah, but then, you see, he came up with this report. You know, I left the office in 2019, and I stepped aside. I wasn't sacked, you understand? I stepped aside for investigations to be carried out, you understand? I'm not sure how many people have done this in this country, stepping aside and have it, and then investigate it. Probably we had the opportunity of staying there for them to investigate it. But I said, no, I do not want it, you understand? So I'm just saying, I'm very clean, you understand? And then being clean alone is not enough. Those behind it, okay, being exposed is important to me so that it doesn't happen to other people.
Okay, what do you think about the ravages of Galamsey? It's going from bad to worse. Things are really problematic now, since you've worked in that space.
No, I wouldn't say, I wouldn't say things are problematic. It's a two-way thing, you understand? The citizenry and us, you understand? So the laws are there for us to follow. The rules are there for us to follow. Are we going to abide by them? That's the thing so we need to work on the psychology of the people. But I think that the programs where the Ministerial Committee came up with a roadmap and all that, all these are being implemented by the ministry. For example, where we have to do geological survey, okay, to ascertain the quantum of minerals beneath the surface of the earth. And that makes that concession credible so that we can access finances from the bank. Because you know what? Most of the foreigners, I know there's a report where people from China come into the country, they take $25 from the banks, come into the country, and then enter into our small-scale mining sector. But the law says the small-scale mining sector is a preserve of Ghanaians. You understand? But so why would a foreigner come from their own country, get access to finance?
I should be asking you that.
No, yes, so have access to finance and then delve into it. So the roadmap and on all these things. So now there's a solution. We check the quantum of minerals beneath the surface of the earth. You go to the bank, there's a credibility out there, you're credit-worthy to access funds to do that.
We have to go, but I'll give you 20 seconds, final words.
Okay, so
You can speak to your constituents.
Okay, yes. So to the people of Iskadikaten, like I said, I'm ready to serve. I'm an indigene. I've been consistent with the people of the Western region. Working 8 years as the regional secretary, I helped the party to gain power, 8 seats, maintain power, and I said I'm not contesting again. And people can go back and check my history there. Coming into Iskadikaten, there are a lot of resources there, natural resources, human resources, and all that. We're not going to depend on government alone. We know that the private sector is the engine of growth. So we are going to actually work together, ensure that people are working in the private sector so that we do not always depend on us. Okay. Together, I think we can do it.
Mr. Bissue, thank you so much for coming, and we wish you the very best
thank you.
As you target that seat. Right before we wrap up this morning, let's take our photo of the day. And that is it. In case you didn't know, so I was here yesterday at the Ghana Airport Company Limited car park, and that is one of the affected vehicles. Just look at that. Thanks be to God, in these cars, there was nobody in there because it took quite a while to get Parks and Gardens, the fire service to come, and also, I mean, they came timelessly, but, you know, if there were someone in there, it would be a matter of minutes. That's from the rainstorm yesterday and some of the disaster it left in its wake. And that's our photo of the day. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, Ghana 4, and those of you from other places who took the time to watch us this morning. My name is Benjamin Akakwa. I do this together with Sweetie Abochi. Tomorrow morning, let's connect again. But up next, Joy News Desk. Stay.